Hey everybody, welcome to the 2018 Canadian Open Bouldering Nationals here in Mississauga at Up The Bloc. My name's Tyler and I'm joined right now by Steve Frangos, the president of the CEC, Climbing Escalade Canada, just to talk a bit about what's been going on in the last little bit. How have you been doing, Steve?
I'm great, Tyler. Nice to see you.
Good. So, first of all, you haven't had this job for very long.
No.
You're pretty fresh to the scene.
I am.
A lot of stuff has been changing as well, so I don't want to put all the credit or all the blame onto you. But tell me what's been going on at the CEC in the last couple of months.
Well, a lot of exciting things. I think the thing to take away that everyone should know is that there's a big change happening in climbing just because of its inclusion in the Olympics in 2020 in Tokyo. So as a result of that, all of a sudden climbing is receiving attention from organizations like Sport Canada, that want to help us get our athletes prepared for the eventuality of the Olympics. And the other aspect that's kind of important for us is that we happen to have a podium hopeful in a guy by the name of Sean McCall that we all know. And as a result of that, Sport Canada is even more interested in helping us mature as an organization. So in the last few months, the big thrust of our organization has been trying to get us ready for that kind of eventuality. And so in particular, the few things that have happened that are really exciting for us is that we have hired a high-performance director. His name is Jeff Thompson. I think you've had a chance to talk to him. And that's the first step in us as an organization and as a community in Canada to build out a system that allows us to have many more Sean McCalls and Alana Yips that have shown that they can do things on their own. We want to show a structure within Canada that allows for that to organically kind of happen and have younger athletes kind of develop over time. So that's probably the biggest thing that we see is just all of a sudden we're now, it's not just hanging around at the gym and doing a few things. We're actually taking it to the next level, if you want to think of it that way. So that's the biggest change that I think that we've seen.
Okay, yeah, aside from Jeff, there's also another new person on the team. Familiar name to a lot of people in Canadian climbing, but Andrew Wilson. So can you talk about this team dynamic and how the roles of all these new people, as well as Stacey Weldon, newly elected president of the Athletes Commission, how does that all work together?
Yeah, so I think what you're getting at there, and is really kind of exciting for us, is that historically the CEC has been a few people that have tried to keep the organization going and keeping competitions going, but now we're trying to develop a structure that allows us to help the athletes achieve these things. So essentially, as I mentioned, we've hired Jeff Thompson as a high-performance director and recently just announced Andrew Wilson as the national team head coach. And that is critical to kind of the high-performance system. And they are going to be working with a group called the High Performance Committee, which will have many more people within it that have other skill sets like nutrition and things of that nature to sort of build a structure that allows us to say, okay, here's how we develop these athletes from the ground up and give them a process. So Andrew is a critical element to that kind of endeavor and our progress around that kind of thing. And then the other thing that we've done, as you pointed out, is Sean McCall has graciously been our athlete representative on the board for a number of months now and has been putting in a huge amount of work. And he brings a lot to the table because he's the athlete rep at the IFSC. So he's helped our organization kind of get ourselves ready for the next step. And then in his work, he's created an athletes commission in Canada. And we just hit it, in the last couple of days have had our first election, and Stacey Weldon is the athlete commission president. And the idea behind that is that we want feedback directly from the athletes themselves and to have a conduit that they can talk to so that we can bring their concerns forward and their aspirations forward so that the organization is pointing all in the right direction, essentially.
Okay. Of course, behind sport, there's always a need for funding, and a lot of what we want to do depends on having the money to get stuff done. Is there a new approach that the CEC is taking to try and acquire funding to make all this new stuff happen?
Absolutely. So the other aspect of this is that we've got a plan in place that have embarked on, and we're making some really significant progress here in the last month or so, where we're trying to do three things. One is we're getting support from Sport Canada, so I can tell you that we've received money from Sport Canada for the first time ever as an organization, so that's a really big feat. We're hoping to get more over time, but it's been a really first big step. But the other element is that we recognize that government funding is not always stable, so we want to have a corporate structure underneath it that allows us to have a 2 or 3 or 4 year plan that sustains our organization moving forward. So we've embarked on a process where we're looking to bring sponsors in, and I can't report the name of the organization yet, but we are literally in the final stages of signing a contract with a significant organization that will give us probably 5 times more money than we've ever had in one shot, and it'll be a 3-year commitment, and it's very, very exciting for us because it allows for us to, as you say, we need money to support this stuff. It's not, we no longer can be just a volunteer organization. We have to have people that are in place that we're paying to do the things that need to be done to support our athletes. So really significant changes from a funding standpoint. And to give you some numbers, historically the CEC has worked on about a $25,000 or $30,000 budget, and we're looking to try and expand that to somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000. So we're not talking about a magnitude of, you know, just a double. Like, it's a significant step forward for the organization. It's ambitious, for sure, but as I said, we're making really significant strides. And if there's anybody out there that's listening that has a few $1 million to spare for an endowment fund, we're willing to talk to them.
Well, you heard it there. If anybody's got any extra money lying around, you can let us know and maybe help us out. Steve, I really appreciate you talking to us. And
appreciate
now,
it.
of course, you got a daughter in finals, so best of luck to you and the entire
Thanks.
family. Right now, though, I'd like to throw to a video we managed to record earlier. I interviewed Caleb Thomas. He's the chief setter for this event, and he gave me a few minutes to talk about what philosophy they had as they went into this round, what kind of holds they were using, and all that kind of gossip you want to know about the finals round we're about to see right now.
Thanks.
I'm with Caleb Thomas, the chief route setter for Canadian Open Bouldering Nationals, to talk about what's coming up right now, finals round. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the philosophy that you guys took when you started planning out this round.
Well, the biggest thing for us with this round is that we are selecting the national team that we're going to bring to the World Cups. So we wanted to try to replicate boulders that they were going to see there, stuff that's going to make a good selection. So we're bringing the right people to the next level. But at the same time, we're going to have a big crowd here tonight, so we want to make sure that we've got some good showy boulders. You know what I mean? We want to put on a good show for people and have an exciting time.
In terms of hold selection, I heard some stories that you guys have been pulling in holds and volumes from everywhere. What are we looking at in terms of like the tools you guys have used this weekend?
We were pretty lucky this time. Yeah, we had everything from this gym Up The Bloc, but also we own Joe Rockheads too, so we took all the cool stuff from there. And then I'm working at Alley Up, and I filled up my little Honda Fit to the roof with fiberglass stuff. We brought all that, so I think it's cool. Finals is a lot of new stuff. We got new holds from, like, new volumes from Dimension. We got some new Morpho stuff people haven't seen so much of. So I think it should be really unique and diverse. We were joking on Friday that when we came in to set the qualification, there was still almost 40 flat hold volumes left, which usually when you're setting nationals, you have about 10 for the whole comp. So it was nice. We didn't have to reuse anything. It should be good.
Nice. Can you just run us through who the crew is? And I know at the Tour de Bloc Championships, you kind of split up, like one half of the crew took men's, one half of the crew took women's. Yep. What was the crew and what was the dynamic like?
We had a really great crew, actually. I think of all the comps I've set, this was one of the better crews to work with. I had Dustin Curtis, Adam Tatarin, Sean Hunter, and Oscar Lanzagorta Sanchez, which are all guys who have set at this level before. Our national event like this one, we wanted to make sure that every detail was perfectly worked out. The vibe was good. I don't know, I feel like we laughed a lot for 3 days. We had a super fun time. We tried to let data motion get onto the wall, so hopefully the climbers have fun too.
Cool, man. Well, I'm super psyched for the round. I hope you get a chance to keep the blood pressure down and not freak out too much. Otherwise, it's been a great weekend so far. So best of luck in the round, and we'll talk to you after.
Thanks a lot.
All right, so that was Caleb Thomas giving us the brief, and welcome back, Pete Woods. How you been, man?
I'm all right. I got my seat warmed up by Steve Frango, so it feels pretty cozy over here right now.
That's a nice way to start your broadcast.
It's not terrible. We're right by the door, so it is a little bit chilly, and it's nice to have a warm chair to sit back down in. We are psyched to bring you the final round. Guys, we went and looked at the boulders. Obviously, we got a lot of insight from the route setters. We talked to a couple of the athletes yesterday. We talked to a couple today, so we got some insight. We do have a couple of interviews. We did a couple quick chats in ISO just before finals. We talked to Seb Lazur and we talked to Bronwyn Carnes. So let's see what those guys had to say. And you know, not super in depth. They're in ISO. They're preparing for finals, but just wanted to get a couple questions in and see what those guys were thinking about before finals.
Sounds good.
Bonjour tout le monde, P. Woods ici, on est la championne canadienne de bloc 2018. Je suis ici avec Seb Lazur. Seb, comment ça va?
Ça va très bien, merci.
Hein, tu as une bonne semi-finale. Comment tu prépares pour les finales avec juste quelques heures entre les deux?
J'ai fait une petite sieste. J'ai essayé de dormir un peu.
Ouais.
Ça marche pas tout le temps,
mais aujourd'hui?
Mais ça a bien marché, oui.
Okay.
Ouais, j'ai bien dormi. Fait que je pense que je vais être prêt. Oui.
Okay. Tu es un peu nerveux, tu es excité. Qu'est-ce que tu veux voir pour les blocs dans la finale?
Une bonne diversité, je pense. Une diversité dans les styles de blocs surtout, les mouvements. Mais sinon, oui, je suis très excité.
Okay. Et ça, c'est comme le 5e, 6e national pour vous?
J'ai pas compté, mais oui, je crois. Ouais.
Et chaque année, c'est plus facile, c'est plus difficile. La compétition, ça change chaque année?
Oui, ça change toujours. C'est toujours aussi dur de se qualifier. Là. Ouais.
Okay.
Il n'y a rien de facile.
Okay. Mais bonne chance. Merci de faire le petit interview et on va voir dans à peu près 1 heure. Merci beaucoup. Hey guys, P. Woods here, 2018 Open Bouldering Nationals. I'm here with Bronwyn Carnes. We're just getting ready before finals, standing just on the outside of ISO. Bronwyn, how you feeling?
Pretty good. Skin is a little sore, but
Yeah.
other than that, excited.
Excited. Semifinals was definitely a bit of a kick from those route setters. They tested you guys. The boulders were hard. Would you rather climb really hard in semis and know that you can do it and then come out for finals, or would you rather a bit of a soft sell in semis and then come out still feeling fresh for finals?
I would rather a hard semis, I think. Yeah, definitely, yeah. Hard semis.
Hard semis and then come out and crush finals. So now you've climbed on these angles quite a bit. Do you have a hope for where you think your final boulders are going to be, knowing what the angles are like?
Well, I'd like a variety. Definitely a cave climb.
Oh.
But a slab too. We didn't have a slab in semis, I don't think.
So you're looking forward to getting steep and getting your squeeze on, and you're looking forward to getting slabby and getting your tech on. What would you say is your best style?
Steep. Yes.
Yeah. There was like no hesitation and then yeah, steep. You want to get the biceps going, you want to get the shoulders going. You climbed real well in semifinals. So this is going to be, you said this is going to be your 3rd nationals as an open competitor. I mean, how many years as a youth?
5?
5?
Yeah, 5.
5. Seasoned competitor, one might say. Yeah, we're going to say seasoned competitor. So we think you climbed real well in semis. I know Ty is psyched to watch you climb in finals. I'm psyched to watch you climb in finals. Good luck.
Thanks.
Go and kick some butt.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, see you. Hey guys, me and Ty hanging out. We are about 5 minutes away from athletes' presentation, and at that point we're going to go over the boulders while the finalists are previewing the boulders. We got the results coming up. We've got the running order. We're going to talk a little bit about what went down in semifinals for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to throw it over and get onto the floor to see the athletes' presentation. Let's have a look at the results from the semifinal round. So starting with the men, going.
Ooh, this is from a different event. This looks like a.
This looks. Spalco Filotto has managed to come in.
This is some stuff from. It looks like a few weeks ago at a different event. So we're gonna come back from this. We got the paper results, so it's all good. Let's talk about the. We got the men here. First of all, we have 7 men going through because we have 1 foreign national in the American, Alex Fritz. But we're seeing Canadians David Trudeau, Jason Hollowatch, Seb Lazur, Francis Bilodeau, Nathan Smith, and Sean McCall. So pretty standard men's category.
I would say so. Yeah, that's as we say. The shakeout brought us most of the expected finalists in that round. And it was a bit of a butt kicking. I mean, the 2 tops got you into the final. So the boulders were hard.
The boulders were hard. Yeah, who do we got in the women's? Of course, Becca Frangos.
We got Madison Fisher, Bronwyn Carnes, and then Alana Yip from the left coast, Alyssa Weber from the left coast, Allison Vest from the left coast.
Yeah, and of course, we talked about this category mostly, first of all, names we know and kind of names we expect, but also those 2 young Ontario girls.
Yes.
Bronwyn was in finals last year, but Madison Fisher, born 2001, this is only her 2nd year of eligibility, and she is fighting with the big girls.
Right.
Like,
you got to think that they're loving the pressure of being in the big show, and then the lack of pressure of being like, I'm a teenager against seasoned competitors, and you're like, this is my chance to show them that I'm coming for them, and they can't just sit back and say, hey, I win all the comps I come into. The next generation is eager and hungry to get at it.
Exactly. Now, some notable people who missed out on finals. The first of all is Lucas Uchida, who missed by a single spot. He unbelievably barely made semifinals due to some luck in foreign nationals, managed to squeak in a tie in 23rd place. So we miss him. Unfortunately, that luck didn't carry through into semis, so he is out this time around.
And JJ Ma, who was a podium finisher last year, and we did discuss that he didn't get a lot of training in. His job with Arc'teryx took him on a bunch of ski trips, so he missed out on some training, off the couch making semis, and then just missing finals by a couple of attempts. Not bad still.
Yeah, and on the women's side, Eva Thompson's the big one for me, a finalist last year from Alberta. This time, again, it was close. We're talking like just, coming down effectively to a bonus in attempts, I think.
A bonus in attempts, and I think she's going to be haunted by the fact that she had the finish hold of women's number 3 in her hand twice.
So painful to watch, man.
It is hard to watch. I know that she's a tough girl. I know that she's going to shake that off. it's always disappointing. And like we said earlier, you can go home and kick some tires and be mad. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know that they're just getting stronger. She's not going to, you don't quit climbing because you missed finals when you're nationals. You're like, you know what, I want it more next year. I want it more the year after that.
She'll be back, so nothing to worry about. An unfortunate day, but she'll be back. We'll see more of Eva Thompson. And in terms of psych, part of me was hoping for somebody like Guy McNamee or Babette Roy. We talked a lot about the 2002 kids. This is their first year of eligibility, so we want to see if any of those names who have been making big marks in the local and provincial scenes, we thought, maybe on an off day somebody makes it.
Is it coming in and then maybe get a little extra squeeze in that exuberance of youth? And we, not quite. They climbed very well, no question at all. But this is your first time on the big kids boulders. Youth problems are set for youth. Open problems are set for open athletes, and that doesn't mean that the spans are bigger. It doesn't mean that it's set for taller people. It just means they're set for sometimes older, sometimes stronger, but just different approach to that kind of climbing. Yeah. So amazing effort from those guys, and this is not the last time we see them climbing in semifinals at Canadian Nationals.
Absolutely not. Now, before we go, I want to make sure we hold ourselves to the bets we made earlier.
Are we? Because it is on record, but let's put it on record again.
Let's do it again. So my predictions were, first of all, Alex Fritz from the USA won this event 2 years ago, and I think you don't make this trip all the way from Seattle, Washington without planning on winning. So my bet's on Alex Fritz. For the women, I'm playing it safe with Alana Yip because I believe. You
believe. And I went safe with Sean McCall, our 11-time national champion, and I went a little bit outside of the safe bubble, but I love the way Alison Vest climbed, and I think she's got it going on this weekend, and my pick is Alison Vest on the women's side.
I've been a fan of the Alison-Alana kind of rivalry kind of thing, so I'm excited to see if it pans out. I wouldn't feel too bad if Alison made it. We're going to listen into Alex Fricka, the MC. We are introducing the athletes right now.
Sixth place women qualifier out of BC, Becca Frangos. Next, coming from Alberta, Jason Hollowatch. Hometown girl out of Ontario, Madison Fisher. The American, we let him compete because he's pretty cool, Alex Fritz. Next up, sure you know this one, last year's triple national champion, Alana Yip. For the men, we have Sebastian Lejour out of Quebec. Everyone, let's hear it. For the women, we have Alyssa Weber. Whoops, we're off to a good start. I forgot Bronwyn Carness, I apologize. Sorry, Bronwyn. For the men, next up, we have Francis Bilodeau coming out. For the second place qualifier, we have Nathan Smith. And your first place qualifier for the women, Alison Vest. First place men's qualifier, John McCall. Ladies and gentlemen, your athletes, let's hear it.
All right.
So now this format has changed slightly.
We are going to be moving into the problem preview. It's the point in the game where the climbers first get to be introduced to their problems for the round. Let me walk you through some of the stats. So first of all, on the screen on the left side for men's number one, this is a fun one, set on a 30-degree overhang featuring mostly dimension and
coordination moves off the start on that slightly lower angle. It is not a slab, but it climbs like a slab. That was the intention behind this boulder. Like you said, looks
for the women, though, they get something a little bit steeper at basically starting at, well, I shouldn't say steeper. They start with 40-degree overhang right at the bottom and then go into legit slab, 4-degree slab. You can see those big bulbs are the flat hold hyperboles, and the best thing to look out for on the women's climb is there are 2 small triangular volumes made by PCM of Montreal with very selective areas of texture. The rest is glossy. So as you see the climbers stepping on those, you're going to be seeing a lot of like tiptoe action, trying to find the friction with their feet.
Absolutely, and the book on this one is that this is a commitment boulder. So it's a handless traverse. They made the men do it in the qualifying round. They made them go across that slab, essentially handless. Can you commit to making that move? So the sort of hope was the climbers go up the first time, they feel it out, and they're like maybe take a tip off and say, okay, I'm really doing this. I'm walking across this slab without using my hands, and it's whether or not you can focus on that, get past that handless piece, and commit to just moving on through that boulder and get to that first handhold.
Yeah, and those feet that they're stepping on, those new dimension volumes are huge. But because they're set into that 40-degree cave at the bottom, they are very sheer, and stepping on them, you're not getting a lot of downward pressure on those things.
No,
so
and the more you step into the floor, the more you slip off.
Exactly, man. Moving on to men's number 2 right in front of you. This thing's on a 12-degree overhang set with dimension rails, those big black features, and then a lot of flat holds. There are jibs only on the bonus hold. The rest of them have no screw on, so these are blank rails. The first 2 at the bottom are fairly in cut, allowing for a good start, but the higher one, these are both very, very open-handed volumes. And of course, I did just notice a black jib that I didn't notice before, so just pretend that didn't happen. This one looks wild.
This one is the techie boulder for the men. There's a lot of complexity. It's not obvious. The sequence, because you just have 2 long holds, there's a lot of chalk on that second volume because it's a bit of a wrestling. Is it here? Is it do I move up it? Do I move down it? So it's definitely a techie boulder, but it has a dynamic finish to it. So once they get established on that top volume, they want to suddenly make these guys commit to a dynamic move to jump to that finish hold. So a bit of a mixed bag, but definitely complex in terms of the solving, and then you need to climb technically to get through those 2 dimension rails.
On the women's side, which is a little bit shifted over on the wall, we're dealing with a 20-degree onto a 28-degree overhang. For this one, you're looking at a lot of typical dimension and morpho volumes with kilter jibs scattered around. So this one's a lot of typical volume crimpy climbing, ending in what looks to me like a bit of a drive-by to a rail. Looks kind of blank. There's nothing on that finish hold.
No, that was described as a tense finish. So they want this to be an insecure boulder for the ladies. There's a coordination move right off the bat, so it is a dynamic movement to then get established into those 2 pink volumes. A high hand foot match, so a little bit powerful. There are no jibs on that finishing rail. It is flat to the hold, but because of the angled tip back, that's about maybe a 20 or a 30-degree sloping rail up there. So the finish is meant to be tense, not going to be easy to match at all.
What made me nervous is I briefly saw them forerunning that one, and they had screw-ons up on that rail before, and it looked really hard, but since then they took the screw-on off the finish. So what's going to happen, man?
I said to Dustin, no screw-ons on the finishing rail, and he did that thing where he put his fingers up in his teeth and went, no, we took them off.
Gross. Men's number 3. This one's got a lot going on. You're starting off on some of those flat hold Thunderbirds. This one's on a 23-degree overhang. Once you get out of that starting position, you're going into a nice big old so-ill bubby, and then basically crawling through some stuff up through a giant dimension volume. But for the most part, we're talking about big open hand pinches, slopers, and then one last ledge before you hit the finish, which again is a big so-ill sloper bubby.
This is a straightforward boulder in terms of solving the puzzle for the men. So this was meant to be not complex at all, straightforward, powerful. The dyno does have a bit of a tricky element to it. Guys might try and go just to that flat hold, but the idea is to squeeze the volume at the same time, although the angles on that are not direct opposition. The compression isn't really there.
Okay.
So just get powerful. How much can you get on that left side of the volume while you're sticking the bonus hold, and then the finish move, again, not super difficult, just go up and grab it, but it is a powerful move.
And as I'm sure you guys have seen, this tasty, tasty women's 3, I don't really know what to say about this, except there's like some volumes put on volumes put on volumes, and there's not a screw-on any of them.
No, not a one. Dustin Curtis's response to, all right, let's talk about women's number 3 was...
He just laughed.
It was an evil Dustin Curtis laugh. It is an awkward dyno, so it's a bit of almost a running step into it. Maybe they'll go off that first foot, but the idea is to take a step or two on those volumes and then have an outward-facing dyno. Foot first to go around the corner, so definitely complex movement. It's not obvious how to get around that volume, and then you just have to wrestle that thing. Once you get established in the body position, the finish presents itself, but you need to find that correct kind of, where am I standing to feel secure enough to lift my hands up.
That one, it looks so simple, but you talk about, different ways of getting through it, and I didn't even think of that foot first beta. I'm really excited to see how climbers get on this one.
Right.
And I mean, the men's one as well, it's an interesting third problem, getting slopey and almost like powerful right towards the end. But we finish up on problem number 4. For the men's, which you can see right now, there are a lot of holds on this men's number 4. It looks like the athletes are kind of shuffling around right now, but men's number 4 starts out with some big, juicy crimps attached to those pink motivation volumes. It looks to me like a big old huck to a bunch of kilter jibs on more motivation volumes, but this thing is on a 45-degree overhang, and like just looking at some of the bonus holds and stuff, it looks like one of the harder problems, and it's at the end.
I feel that this might be the hardest problem. It is a triple coordination dyno, so you come off those first 2 holds, you hit the first one, you come under to the second one, and then you finish with your right hand catching the swing on the third one down around the corner. So a triple coordination dyno inspired by a problem I think that Sean Hunter had seen at a comp last year, inspired maybe by a comp from the CWIFF round a couple of years ago. The finish is pretty straightforward. Once you get your hand on that bonus hold, you're in the so wheel innie, find the right position for it. The finish hold is a jug of all jugs. So jump, catch, done.
Now, this women's problem, and I'm kind of surprised how pink these Morpho shields look, but these are bright red, with the white on the backs. This is a gorgeous looking problem. These brand new holds shipped in for this comp. I don't really know what to say about this one. It is a 30-degree overhang. You're rocking these edges with, the white is dual text. So the white, you're not going to be stepping on it. You're not going to be squeezing it. And then the finish hold is a friction berry stone, which on this kind of problem is basically a jug compared to everything else. How is this one going to go?
This one is back to the obvious boulder. This is physically intense. It's a squeeze. There are no secrets to this boulder. There's going to be some shuffling along those rails to find the best spot. These are new holds. They look like some of the holds that popped up in the earlier round for the men in the qualifiers, but obviously this is the women climbing on them, and they haven't reused any except the middle ones. So the rails get better and worse as you run along them, so it's about finding the best position to move out of. It is going to be sapping because the more you mess around, the more tired you get. But it is meant to just be a straight-up physical squeeze. There are no should I go foot first, should I go inside out. It's grab the holds, move towards the finish.
Now, a very interesting lesson that a lot of the climbers learned on those holds in qualifiers was you sometimes got to use the bolt hole as a thumb catch, and that was something that Lucas mentioned later on that, hey, I really should have figured that out. So I'm curious to see if that same kind of beta comes into the play, and if the girls maybe heard those lessons from the guys yesterday, maybe it comes into helping them get to the top a bit more.
Maybe it doesn't. And we saw a couple of the men try and heel hook. We saw the guys try and heel hook a couple of those holds, and where if your hand is on the good part, your heel is on the bad part. Those holds are not the same depth the whole way along. So that is this, yeah, you could heel hook, but maybe that's not the right thing to do because now you put so much effort in the heel, and really it's only barely hanging you on, and sometimes it's just better to go.
Yeah, no,
grab the holds and go. I did ask Dustin, often these guys set in terms of saying, this is the easiest, this is the hardest, we expect everyone to top this one, we only want to get one top on that one. I asked him if they went through that on this round, he said no. He said their goal was to test all aspects of all the finalists' abilities, and they just wanted to put out boulders that made these guys climb hard without making decisions about what was going to get topped by who and when.
All right. Well, when we get started with climbing, because we have 7 men and 6 women, we're going to be starting with one lonely, lonely guy on the wall, and unfortunately the guy to draw the short straw is David Trudeau from Quebec. So in a moment, we're going to be seeing him on his first attempts of men's number 1. Now, just to recap people on the timing and the format of this thing, of course, you should know it by now. The timing is a hard 4 minutes, so it's not 4+. You can't get on the wall at the end of the time and keep going. You got to get it done in 4. And for the scoring,
we are going to go tops, bonuses, attempts to those tops and attempts to those bonuses, and that's how we're going to reach our finalists. And we are off. There's no downtime in a final. David Trudeau right away across the beginning of this coordination move and into that bonus undercling.
David coming off maybe not his favorite junior championships a couple weeks ago and looking maybe for some redemption here, but frankly, things only get harder when you get to Open Boulder Nationals, and I think he's starting to see it with just the foot placement on this very, very high left volume. Can't make it go. Again, that hand, that bonus hold, is one of those flat hold dishes, but it's backwards.
It's backwards.
So you're not grabbing the scoop. You're grabbing the completely sheer backing of that hold. There's nothing to hold on to, man. You can't reel that in.
No, and there's nothing on the other side of that volume either. So if you're looking to press out, you're not getting any type of good purchase. And the thing to remember here is that the angles are not always obvious from the camera angles. And Ty walked you through the angles of these walls. So this is about a 30-degree overhang, and then you have a volume that's also on an off angle to that. So you're pushing and pulling in angles that are not in the opposition that you're looking for to use that foothold in its optimal angle. So these are set cleverly angles on angles on angles, and that's how we test these climbers and the way that they apply force. Something very interestingly that we'll come back to probably a few times that I know that people are starting to talk about in training camps. I know that Uda's put a lot of time and effort into looking at angle of attack, angle of force, where you're generating that force from in order to move in the direction you want to go, regardless of what the holds are giving you or not giving you.
Yeah. Now, of course, if David can get to where he was before, you see where the wall kind of ends and disappears into nothing. It is a finished edge, so there are good places to grab. If he can lock this foot in and bump his left hand up around the corner, you get into a really good spot. And I think the later half of this climb is compressing between the edge of the wall, the next volume, and then going to the finish. So he just needs to get some confidence to weight that left foot so he can get his left hand over to the side. I mean, at least that's what I think. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a competitor, and I haven't seen it go yet. So take that for what it's worth, but I think that's one of the ways to make it happen.
I agree, and you're exactly right. Is he needs to get this opposition that he's showing right now. If he can keep that right hand sticking, he's going to be able to get that volume, and now he's compressing between those two holds.
And to say the screw-on at the top of this is a tiny little Technic crimp, and it is blocked, so there is very, very little to grab. There is maybe a quarter of a fingertip that can get behind it before you run into a flat hold crimper. So there is not a whole lot to get onto. You cannot dyno to this thing unless you have fingernails of steel, and based on how much time he burnt in that position, he wasn't going to be able to hold on to that go if he went for it.
No, and you think that these guys are definitely fit athletes, but that is an awfully long time to be squeezing volumes with no holds on them.
Something we talked about was how do you utilize your time now that attempts matter less? If you get up to one hold away from the top, is it worth sitting there for minutes and minutes trying to earn the flash, or is it better just to back off and say, I can get the top again if I give myself some time to rest? The attempts don't matter. I just got to get the top eventually. And maybe that's something that the athletes haven't thought too much about. They just haven't confronted that format.
They haven't had time to rework their strategy. This is almost a test run for this format for these athletes. The nice thing is they have about 20 minutes of rest between each boulder. This format applies that extra time between the boulders, so you will see them try more than you do in the 5-on, 5-off, where sometimes you only see 2 attempts. In here, if the boulder is workable in those 4 minutes, you might see 3 or 4 attempts.
And here we got Becca Frangos and Jason Hollowatch on the problems. Jay Hollowatch from Saskatchewan and Becca Frangos from Alberta. She's wearing the SCBC because I think she's going to school there, but it's also our first look at women's #1, and damn, do I not want to do the rock over on those volumes.
No, I agree, and that's exactly what the root setters want, is you to stand up there and say, you want me to do what with this?
No kidding.
And then you have to buckle down and decide that you do have to do that. Jay going inside out. When in doubt, face out.
Jay looks like he just bought a day pass for the first time, thinks the chalk bag goes in the front. What's going on there, Jason?
What's going on with that?
You own the gym. You're not a customer. Come on, figure this out, man. I hope this goes. That would be hilarious.
Maybe he's thinking he's just going to sort of lean in and press to it.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then face plant. Remember that these guys, when they were doing their preview, as we were talking about those boulders, they are collaborating with each other. They're talking about what they think is going to be the sequence to do these problems. They're definitely competing, but they're also in that collaborative mindset where they're looking to build off each other's ideas. I could go inside, and you'll see these guys try one thing and try another, and you know that that's one or two sequences that they've talked about, or they've decided, we talked about that, but it's definitely not working, and now I'm left on my own, basically on site.
Yeah, it's you can take the insight, when you're first talking about it, but after that, you don't get feedback from the others. You won't find out what they tried or how it went, so you got to make a good decision, even if you got all those cool ideas. Jay finally manages to stick the bonus on his second attempt. And
Becca Frangos just willing the boot rubber on those Sportivas to stick to that volume.
And this is her third go, and maybe this is, oh, no, never mind, it's not. But Jason, on his second attempt, could manage to secure this.
There we go.
Looks like he's getting into the comfortable spot, and now he has to start the fight that we got to watch David go through a few minutes ago.
I'm not sure that comfortable is the word I'd be looking for. Relatively comfortable?
A chance to, like, stand up straight at the very least.
Yeah, and move your shoulder from behind your ear to back where it belongs.
Exactly. Sounds comfortable to me. I didn't read the right-hand grab on the side of this volume, so that's really interesting. Almost like they don't need the edge of the... Oh, I spoke too soon.
Yeah, I mean, he was moving cleanly and then putting a lot of pressure on a volume with no jibs on it is sometimes a ticking time bomb. You're feeling good, and then the smallest angle change, and all of a sudden you are running back down that boulder and leaving a big boot streak as you go.
And even though Jason is coming out as the basically second lowest qualifier after semifinals, it should be noted that he had the opportunity to win this comp last year. If he had managed to flash the fourth problem, he would have taken the win from Sean. It didn't work out, but he knows he's that close to getting the national championship, and I think he's reliving that and wanting to make it happen this year. So I'm excited to see what goes.
And he knows he's that good. This is a man who's been in a World Cup final. He knows what that feels like. He knows what it means to pull hard, squeeze hard on demand. That's the pressure of finals. Is you can't come back tomorrow. In your mind, you think, I need to top 4.
You need every bit of friction you can get sometimes, I guess. And hopefully Maddie can stand up the way she did before. That was the best progress we've seen. Well, she is only the second girl so far today. I like the press off her own knee. That's really
that's great, eh?
Ooh, Maddie.
Oh, look at that balance. Just got to get stood up. Yeah.
Not quite enough.
Oh, I think we're back. We'll see. Jay did not top Guillaume. Jay Hollowich came off looking at the finish but not moving to it on the first boulder. If you were off the stream and are now back on it.
If you guys are looking for results, you can follow along at compseason.com. But so far, just so you know, nobody has topped men's #1 or women's #1. This is the second attempt for Alex Fritz. And he looked really good going through it. But again, just like the boys before him, couldn't find enough of a comfortable position to actually start reaching up to the finish hold.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big-time finish on this. You've got to trust that left hand as much as possible. And I don't know that they could have seen from the ground, as you were saying, that crimp is guarded on the finish hold. So if they go big, they might get disappointed.
Well, I didn't see it because I was climbing it, because there's no way I'd get up there. I did manage to see it from the ground. It was kind of unclear as to how good it was, but it did look like it. It didn't block it so much in depth, but mostly in height. It's like the width of the volume is cut down on you, so it makes it a little bit harder. This is a replay to Jason and Becca, and this was Jason's awesome outward attempt, but did not work out for him. So. Bummer for him.
And that's what happens when you put your chuck bag in the front, I guess.
Don't do it, fellas.
Don't do it. No fanny packs required.
Do it.
Okay, so that's going to do it for both of those guys. I mean, Madison not getting to the bonus, but showing as much upward progress, at least as Becca did. Looked like maybe she had the right idea with trying to stand up all the way and then start to move that left to right momentum.
Well, she was so dependent on her left hand on the start hold to keep the balance. It looked like she needed maybe a left foot to get matched up on that start hold. Anything to relieve herself, because she was so bent over. Unless she, just pushed herself off and kept the balance, which is terrifying. I don't think that goes without finding something to take the weight off your left hand on the start.
And I think, as Dustin was telling me, that a couple of tries and then you just have to commit to kind of walking across that actually quite quickly and getting over to that bonus hold.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. The next people coming up are Seb Lazur and Bronwyn Karnas. Bronwyn Karnas, when I think of her, and I'm a big fan of her, I don't think of her so much as a slab climber, but when I spoke to her earlier this year, she mentioned that this year she wasn't worrying so much about competitive goals, but more about training goals, and specifically saying that walking on volumes was something that she didn't feel comfortable with and that she had spent a lot of time on and felt like she was making progress. So maybe the report card today will reflect in some improvement in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the kind of thing, the competition style bouldering, you can get strong and train as much as you like, but you need to get good at walking on off-angled volumes. As much as you want to maybe not do that, you need to do that.
And this is Alex Fritz on his best attempt, getting up high, but again, this position, when you try and bump up, all the momentum is swinging you out. There's just nothing you can do.
Yeah, and it's not really compression in the purest sense, because that right hand, the angles aren't right. You're not doing what you really want to be doing. So Seb Lazur and Bronwyn winding up for their first tries. Bronwyn looking...
And this is where we saw Madison get to. She needs to get a foot somewhere to relieve the left hand from taking all her weight.
Yeah.
A bit of a foot shuffle, but she couldn't stay on. Not the first time we've seen it. Hopefully she can suss it out.
And it's a learned movement, and root setters love showing you learned movement and then seeing if you can solve it in a very small amount of time. And Seb learning how bad the underside of that volume, of that hold on the underside of that volume actually is.
Yeah, that first generation of flat hold volumes known to be really bad holds, but we were talking about them when they were facing the good way, and this is the other way.
This is the wrong way.
So let's talk about bad holds, man. That upside down flat hold scoop is a disaster. I assume they wanted a really bad sloper, but they couldn't find a purpose-built hold, so they had to go rummaging for something and turn it around.
And made something do its job not the way they wanted. Seb reaching out and then coming back to try and shuffle that right hand up to get a little bit more distance over to that volume on the arête.
Now, I'm not a competitive climber, but when I read men's number one, I was looking at left hand going to the edge of the wall and then right hand flying in to catch that volume for some compression. Haven't seen anybody try it, so I'm probably just not very good at this. But I still feel like there's options that haven't been explored, especially that edge of the wall. When you've got those feet so close, there might be an opportunity for a layback. I might just be making this stuff up, but that's what I'm seeing.
I think the idea is good, but the angle of the side of the wall is not sharp enough to get the kind of opposition you're looking for. The fact that none of them have tried it means, maybe they think there's no advantage to it. Maybe it feels farther away than just going to that volume.
Yeah, maybe. So I really want to watch Bronwyn closely here. I'm trying to find out if it's just all down to confidence on the feet or if the angle is just not enough of a slab to let you really make those moves around to get readjusted. And first of all, she's got, I think her left heel on the thing.
Yeah, she definitely is trying to just scum as much boot rubber on there as possible right now.
And maybe this is what you're talking about. Maybe at this point they don't need to worry about a foot match, but just getting their weight over and just run over to that next
basically
hold.
Run over. Seb up and looking strong, thinking about a toe hook, but not quite making it stick.
I got to say, I didn't expect men's one to be this much of a troublemaker.
No, I would agree with you. It looked like it was going to be difficult, but not the most difficult.
Yeah, no, I'm curious. Also, the women's one as well. I was hoping we'd see somebody stand up by now. And we're back.
Seb easily back into the bonus, and Bronwyn running out of triceps, perhaps. And I think she just gave the crowd the great shrug.
Yeah, they're down to under a minute now, about 45 seconds.
Seb Lazur getting the foot switch.
Yeah, this is probably his last chance, and that's not going to go, man. That's a bad hold on the finish. You got to go with some stability to lock that thing down.
But getting as close as anyone by managing to get that foot switch.
Yeah. And, man, talk about a fight over here. Just not possible to get yourself in a comfortable position so far. It's really too bad. And, yeah, here's Seb's go with the toe hook around the edge of the wall. But dynamic to a blocked tiny crimp. The crimp is impossible to hold on to without the blocker, and then they put a blocker on it anyways. What do you expect from climbers in that kind of situation? I don't know. It's like this is a big comp with strong climbers or something. But I heard that apparently there's some falling videos or something like that's available for us to queue up.
I would be not against some falling videos.
I'd love to see some of this going on. Of course, here Bronwyn just trying to arrange the feet, but just, you know, the center of gravity not able to stay in enough and keep the foot in on those volumes.
And I love the way that the first thing she does is look back at the clock and see, like, how much time have I got to get back up on this thing?
Yeah, and do I have any possibility to actually make something go on this, or do I have to call it a day, save the energy for the next go-around?
Exactly.
Yeah, our next climber's coming out from Quebec, Francis Bilodeau, and Alana Yip, your national champion for the last 2 years. Maybe she's the one to make this thing happen.
So immediately up into the position, and the first boulder has the least amount of thinking because they've just come from previewing them. They haven't spent a lot of time in ISO, so they don't tend to have a real long look. They just pop back up on it and be, this is what I said I was going to do. I'm just going to go do it. Francis is one of our taller finalists. Definitely going to try and put that to good use, given how stretched out Jay and Seb looked trying to make that move to the arete, and Alex Fritz.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of big faces, so there's a lot to work with. I mean, we saw Jay do it backwards for one attempt at least, so I think there's a lot of possibility, but it ultimately comes down to if you lean on that bonus too much, there's nothing there. It's not going to save you from, you know, whatever you're trying to deal with. Alana, though, this is the one you want to be watching. Is she going to get her foot up? It looked like it would have been easy. Oh, goodness.
Look at this. She's got her hand on the arete.
Yikes. She's going basically the wrong way. What is she going to do from here?
How do you extricate from this?
She has to go to the right. She's going
She's
the completely
going the wrong way.
Alana, what is happening? Are you going to dyno to this undercling? You're not going to dyno.
You're not going to dyno to the undercling. But maybe she thinks that she can just sort of fall back onto this really not very good slab and hop her way over. So
down climbing is harder than up climbing, and this looks rough. Like, how are you going to rock your foot? Well,
I like the creativity. I like the creativity. I like the fact that she is established and now is in a position to maybe make that 1-2.
That right there, man.
She danced a jig.
Yeah, and she tried to get her foot landing on those next set of volumes, but those are the ones where he said they have some slick areas that aren't good for you.
This is going to be a good shot. Watch her feet on this. Watch how quick she moves while she's falling off, basically.
She's just going to take the momentum that she's got. She's going to try and put it in the way to bonus. She gets the right foot, not quite on the volume, or right foot not quite on the volume, but her hand gets nowhere near the bonus, unfortunately, and you really need the hand to stop you.
Well, I would love to see her try that again.
She will.
You don't often get to see an Irish jig.
No, you don't.
In bouldering finals.
That's a really good point, yeah. All right, Francis. That's an interesting new way to look at it, try and get a double clutch.
Given that he did that move so easily the first time, I'm not sure why he felt the need to change his approach.
Well, he got one hand on it, but I don't know if you're leaning that far over and you don't have anything to catch you if the rest of your body swings, so I feel like he needs to get there with more weight on his feet.
Yeah, so maybe he was worried about coming out and just trying to do that move facing the right way to begin with.
I want to know if Alana goes for the full detour this time. It looks like she is. She's just going to park up on that and then reposition down lower. That was the 1 minute whistle right there.
She is just staring at this thing.
A problem this hard, if you can get a top on it, that's going to be a massive separator later down the line.
Absolutely.
So anybody that can bag this one is in such a good spot. It's only the first problem, but damn, this is a trophy problem.
This is a welcome to finals.
No kidding, man. If you thought qualies was too easy, if you thought semis was a gimme, well, here's your payback for that.
Exactly. And just when you think you've warmed up, you get handed this coming out of isolation. I mean, it's hard to warm up for this type of movement in isolation. You warm your fingers up. They're still warm from semifinals with not a really long gap in between.
Yeah.
They're not fresh, but they're warm. But how do you practice that?
You don't, Pete. Yeah, you guys straight up don't. Yeah, no, and unfortunately, Francis, it looked like the beta he was using didn't really change over those couple of problems.
No.
Like, constantly going for the stretch out, not so much trying some different things. And as much as he would get one hold on the bonus, and I'm sure he scored the bonus, it just didn't set him up for those tops.
No, and the thing to remember is that these guys sometimes get tunnel vision and stick with the same beta, and sometimes they get chaotic vision and they try something different every time. And both of those approaches have their advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Our next climber's out, and we are getting very close to our highest qualifying competitors. These are your second-place qualifiers. For the men, Nathan Smith, and for the women, Alyssa Weber. Weber?
Weber.
Okay.
Weber.
I got it right.
Alyssa Weber, very careful. She, when needed, will move very slowly. She's good at making committable moves and good at dynoing, but she loves to move in control.
All right.
Which is sort of good on this and sort of bad because it's out of control, but would reward a slow-moving, careful climber.
Yeah, exactly. This could possibly be a place where she sets herself apart.
And you see the difference in confidence on the foot placement between the first couple of finalists who never really looked like they could weight their feet on these volumes, and then Alyssa, who stood up relatively easily, and then trying to make an off-balance foot switches. And
Nathan Smith, he's a Toronto boy out of Boulders, but he's been climbing at Block Shop and doing a lot of setting there too. And of course, that means they're pretty familiar with dimension volumes, and he's looking like he knows what's going on. He's got himself with his weight on his feet, which is what we were missing from Francis in the last attempts. And now it's about seeing if he can secure the very first top of men's number 1. And he's the second last guy. We're running out of guys.
We're running out of guys, and we're running out of ladies to do the same. Oh, look, he's getting folded up. This looks good.
And we've seen it before. He's just got to make sure he doesn't go dynamic to that and can't even get into the launch position. But first attempt. Not too worried about it just yet. Alyssa may be in the most upright standing position so far, but again, the same thing. You need to relieve that left foot of, or your left hand of all that weight. Otherwise, you can't stand up. You just don't have the range, and that won't let you go.
This is a really good look at, yes, he got the foot switch, but your weight comes so far to the left that that left hand is not good enough to hold you in that position at any point past the center line of your body weight and that hold.
Yeah, again, it might not look like it, but it is a 30-degree overhang on men's number 1, so it's not very good. For the women, the slab is about a -4 degrees, so it's legit slab, but I think the girls wish they had a little bit more because it is very hard to rearrange yourself when you're stepping on these big volumes. And again, they are huge. You got lots of space for your feet, but they're angled drastically down.
Alyssa staring upward, willing this foot to get better or at least stay attached.
I feel like you might be just staring into kind of like a desert of bolt holes, hoping for an oasis of a little crimp you didn't see before that just shows
Maybe
up.
Maybe a hold will arrive.
Do I see a knee on this?
You see a knee. You absolutely do.
What's going on here?
We've seen chalk bags in the front. We've seen knee scums, which is generally reserved for beginners trying to top out boulders for the first time.
Is this a Little League bouldering competition?
This is a Little League bouldering competition all of a sudden.
You know the problems are hard when some of the best climbers in the country revert to complete Gumby tactics trying to get through these things.
Everybody, every limb is in play.
This is wild. And yeah, Nathan trying to get back to his high point with his foot up on the pink volumes. Give me some more, Nathan. I want to see this. Yeah. Nathan's had an interesting year because he does well at comps, but he's been trying to focus a lot on learning to be a better route setter, and so not climbing as much as normal, so we haven't had a chance to see him. But this is an excellent place for him to show off how good he is.
Oh, he looks secure here now.
If he can get a solid
Oh, my
launch,
goodness.
He's holding on with one hand. He can do this. Figure out a way to find the balance and go steady to that finish, and this thing is yours and nobody else's. Come on, Nathan.
I think he's sort of thinking left hand, right hand here.
And right then he learned how thin that hold is.
I was just going to say, just found out what topping that boulder is going to take. And maybe it's going to take just saying, you know what, I'm going to let the clock run down.
That's a hard way to finish, man.
It's a great slow motion look at Alyssa's knee scum.
This is wild.
And she might be smiling there. I'm like, I can't believe I'm actually scumming my knee.
No kidding, man. Should have brought the knee pads out. Should have worn sweatpants. What can you do? And oh man, Nathan's so close, but I'm still not convinced that you can hit this thing dynamically.
I'm convinced that those are some short shorts. It was an unexpected angle.
I think they're about right, but yeah, the angle's a little bit unexpected for a climbing comp. Final competitors on women's and men's number 1. Who are they? Well, you know them. That's Allison Vest right there, and behind her, Sean McCall. Yeah, I think we've all heard of Sean McCall before. He had, he didn't qualify in first set of qualifiers, but then in semifinals, he demonstrated how far ahead he is of everybody. His control and his decision-making is unbelievable. I want to see if he can give us one top on. Ooh!
Overconfident, maybe overconfident. I have heard Sean McCall say before, he knows he's going to be in the top 20.
Okay.
He's not concerned about being first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, eighth, ninth, 10th in the semifinal round. So he just does what he needs to do, doesn't get worried about it. and then climbs really hard in semifinals to get into finals, and then, you know, it shakes out as it shakes out. So I know we definitely talked about the surprise of him being 7th, but he wasn't that worried about the one boulder he didn't do.
Yeah. Again, his focus is on the World Cups. He knows he's going to qualify, especially because he's already got a bye onto the national team with his standing as an overall combined champion from the 2016 World Championship. So he's golden.
Goes 0 for 2 on the start of this and looked immediately to the heavens and then immediately to his foot, which definitely let him down on that volume. And I think he knows he's not giving it the care and attention that it needs. And when he decides that he's fed up of making little mistakes, that's when you see it come out. So he knows what a slip feels like and doesn't want to do it again. Oh, my goodness.
And that's the beta we were seeing from Francis. But Francis has considerable inches on Sean, so I can understand it. But, I mean, Sean's foot's just blowing. He needs to find a better way through this thing.
Agreed. People are remarking that it is hard to see some of the volumes. The gray on gray is maybe not great for TV, but it looks good in the room, I promise you that.
Gray on gray is the official Canadian color scheme of bouldering gyms, if you haven't heard. That's
Absolutely.
the thing we do now, so get used to it.
It's the most neutral, apologetic color sequence we could think of.
Exactly, yeah. Isn't our official bird the gray jay or something?
Something like that,
yeah,
maybe,
we had to, yeah, so this is exactly right. We nailed it, guys.
There's Allison using the hand-on knee approach that we saw from Madison Fisher. They might even have talked about that.
Maybe.
Yep. And I'm going to just come right out and say that I'm shocked that Sean is not solving the introduction moves to men's number 1.
Yeah, and at this point, he's realizing, oh, hey, I'm running out of time to play around with this. I need to make some decisions and actually send this thing. Now, for most of the boys, including Sean, they're tied with getting this bonus in their first attempt, mostly from reaching over. So there's not much separation in the men's after this problem. But I'd really like it if he laid down a top and threw down the gauntlet for the rest of the boys.
Yeah. And it looks, I mean, the boulder looks tall for him the way he's doing it. However, it's not set as a tall boulder, and he's going to walk away.
Yeah, there's always other options, and we're just not seeing them on this problem. Very curious to know what the route setters thought was the best way to get through this thing, but a lot of folks are getting turned around.
You know, my impression from talking to Dustin was that they would just do this move quicker. They would just step and grab, get up into the undercling, but this very slow and steady approach unnecessarily.
Hands on the bonus. He just has to control, but he's looking very hesitant about it.
No, and
like anytime you're thinking about replacing a foot with a hand, but you know, Sean McCall gets it done. Now, of course, he's fighting the timer. He's got to get this thing done fast.
He looked at the clock when he's just not getting.
Differentiate yourself from the strong people. So now it's going to be a tight competition.
And I know the route setters will be disappointed that that didn't get done, simply because they like to display their movement. They like to show you what they've created, and it is disappointing to them.
Yeah, let's take a look at that final attempt on Allison, because we were pretty focused on Sean there.
So Allison Vest getting the hand knee and looking like she just wants to be somewhere else.
Yeah, what a rough climb to start the day, man. Wow, that's unbelievable.
You see that scornful look back up towards the clock.
That's a killer, man.
And definitely, I mean, you might be cursing a route setter out. You might be cursing out yourself for not reading it the way maybe you thought it was meant to be read. And sometimes you do read it perfectly, and it just doesn't go down for you.
Yeah, you can read it perfectly and just realize, oh, that's a couple grades above my ceiling, and that's a bummer thing to realize.
It is tricky business.
Yeah.
So we are moving on to men's and women's number 2. I think every boulder I'm going to say I'm excited to see how this boulder climbs. So I'm only going to say it maybe probably 3 more times. I'm excited to see how these boulders climb. This one, I think especially because it looks very difficult, but I'm secretly worried that it's going to go quite easily.
Yeah, we're going to see, like, as much as these volumes look pretty blank, you do have a lot of places to play with angles. It is only a 12-degree overhang, so, and I mean, right there, hopping the meat hook on the top and getting an easy step, a quick bump with the left, and at this point, it's basically just positioning for a drive-by, and so long as you can pinch that Thunderbird, you've got a top on this thing.
Wow, that was close.
Ooh. That's a rough way to finish that, but I mean, so long as he can get the pinch strength together, he should be able to make this thing happen. Brushing, although probably not going to make much of a difference. He made this part look easy. And he's just got to make sure he can cruise through this thing simple enough so when he gets to the finish, he is ready to go and pumped up to squeeze onto that final hold, which is just a blank pinch. No jibs on that for nobody.
No. It is some squeezing and some grabbing, but not a lot of crimping. All right, so David's taking a little rest. I think he thinks maybe this is a next try. He's hanging out, getting some back. When you get on that last hold, you give yourself a little extra rest, dig back in and say, okay, here's what I need to do to get up this boulder.
Yeah, and I mean, coming out of Youth Boulder Nationals, finishing in first place this year, like, that's got to feel good. I think same thing last year, if I remember correctly, he came first place. So
yep.
He knows what it means to win a big comp, and I think this is the next one on his list. So I think he's ready for this. He's just got to make it happen.
He's just got to make it happen. And I mean, from talking to Dustin, they are not climbing this boulder the way they thought they were going to need to climb the boulder.
Really?
He didn't describe it as using that dimension rail as a bump to the bonus. He mentioned that they would need to have that foot low, come in, mess around on the dimension rail, and then come across to the bonus. But that's just a span from David.
Yeah, it's a, you know, he makes it work pretty easy. And like you said, I think that maybe that part climbs a little easier than you expected. So that's kind of interesting. And it comes down. At this point, it looks like the hardest part is the finish. So maybe everybody's going to flash the bonus, and it all comes down to who can actually finish this thing with a top.
Definitely takes that every bit of squeeze that you've got. That pinch, as you said, is pretty good. It has no screw-ons on it, but it's not very forgiving. As soon as you start to slip off of it, it doesn't give you a lot to recover with.
Yeah, it is overhung, and especially if you're only stepping on those rail volumes, it's very sheer footholds. So it's not like you're hitting a dead point with nice support from your feet. A lot of your body wants to cut, so you got a lot to make that happen.
David on what might be his last try. Yeah, I know people are asking we get a timer on the screen. We don't have one. I think they tried to get one going, but it's not quite working out. David Trudeau getting set up here for his finishing move. Oh, and he went.
He's been there before.
Yeah, he went low and slow this time to maybe the fattest part of that pinch and was not able to reel it back in.
I like that he changed his approach and tried to go for a more stable, like really getting himself set up in a nice position where his weight was on his feet. He just went for a simple reach, and it looked really good for a second, but again, just there's not enough in the hands to make you feel confident to move the feet or change your body weight. So,
and that foothold slipped on him, so that top of that dimension rail isn't flat. It's on a downward angle on the angle of the wall, so it looks like it might be pretty good because it's a triangle that's quite large, but all the angles are wrong.
Yeah,
which is sort of a bit of a trend.
Yeah, man. Yeah, big surfaces, but changing angles. I think a lot of the root setters like those big areas where you can step in a lot of different places. So if you're taller or shorter, you can kind of like even that out based on how close or how far away you step from the wall. But it is harder to step on than something flat for sure. The athletes know that, and they got to get used to it. So
they do.
We'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure those are fresh, brand new volumes, though. So the friction should be optimal at this point. But
friction's great, and no one's seen them yet. They're brand new for this comp. And we got Jay Hollowatch moving through and Becca Frangos as our first lady out on boulder number 2. Jay with a slip. Yeah, this coordination dyno from the ladies. They definitely don't like to do that. So I wonder, you did speak to Caleb about moving the volume or the bonuses around as a result of the new scoring. From what he was telling you, Becca Frango sticking that dyno. Let's see how she walks up through this volume.
I like this a lot.
And we're going to see how tricky this finish is.
And again, there is no screw-on this finish hold. It's all friction.
That is an excited Frangos right there.
That's our first top of the day, or first top of the evening, yeah. Jay Holowach trying to get bonus. I don't think he got it the first attempt either, so that puts him a bit behind David.
Yeah, so I wonder if, are we seeing bonus placement, and as you would have expected from your conversation with Caleb about the way that they're adjusting the route setting, or, I mean, it feels like every other comp to me that there's only so many places you can move the bonus to. One hold earlier, one hold later.
Well, you know, especially as climbs get shorter almost, or well, I shouldn't say that. There are definitely places where boulders are getting longer, cough United States. But for the most part, in a lot of these climbs, your bonuses and several moves are on a single hold, so you don't have options to really, you know, change the tiny little placement of bonuses. You just have these big swaths that you have to designate as a bonus. So I don't think it's too much change, but I think it's an acknowledgement that, hey, we can't set any low bonuses anymore because it's too much of a gimme.
It's too easy.
You got to make sure that bonuses are valuable and reflect the amount of value that they're given in the new scoring system. So
it has to be an earned movement now that it's not just a tiebreaker.
Exactly.
It's actually a decision maker on who your winners are going to be.
Yeah, you got it.
I mean, you wonder now that you change it from bonus. It's no longer a bonus. You know, now it's back to being a zone or a mini top, or, you know, I feel that we got to change the perspective on that hold.
Yeah.
All right, Jason Holowach needs to get it sorted out here.
Yes, he does.
This is so this is what we're seeing. David Trudeau is quite tall.
Yes.
So maybe the span was unique to a taller climber. Jay definitely unable to make the span, and showing you that wrestling that top rail is not that easy.
Well, two things to pay attention to. You've got options for your feet. There is the back volume, where you can step at the top of the low. There is a screw-on jib at the top of the bonus hold. So if you can reach up there, meat hook it, so you get your fingers on the jib, palm around the back, it gives you a lot more control than just grabbing the edge, and I'm pretty sure that's what I saw Jay doing.
Yeah.
So with a super low foot and keeping this hand down where there's nothing to really get purchase on, you're screwing yourself up. I like this way more. Gets the foot up, opens it up to getting a higher hand with some actual control. I think that's the way he's got to go moving forward.
Yeah, and he's going to run out of time.
That's
so
a bummer.
This is, I mean, Jason will be shocked to have not succeeded on 2 finals boulders in a row.
Yeah, that's not the way you want to open up the climb, but the nice thing is, so far, that's the same everything everybody else has done, man.
Yeah,
like
everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah, you're rocking along there. It's coming down to like the amount of attempts to bonus, basically. So for now, nothing to worry about too much. If you're not here, I'd love you to come here because we're having a blast. I think we're pretty full. I don't know if we can take a look at the audience and kind of see how things are panning out, but I know this pace is pretty much standing room only. It's a lot to see, of course. Yeah, there we go. There's the entire Toronto climbing community.
Oh, Dustin Kerr. We got some route setters.
We
Dustin
got
Kerr,
route setters,
Caleb.
all these volunteers. Look at this crowd here.
You can
all
see
the way
us
to the
behind
back
that
of the
white
gym.
screen there.
Yeah.
That's Ty and I way back there in the corner.
Wild stuff. Our next climber's out. We're down to Alex Fritz from the United States and Madison Fisher from Ontario. And we'll see what they're up to on the wall in just a second. But yeah, here we are.
Perfect timing.
Look at that,
Perfect
man.
timing.
It's TV magic.
Just like that.
And we get our first look at women's number one, or no, not our first, but second look.
Second look.
Women's number one. We didn't get to see too much of it for Rebecca. I just kind of at the very end caught the dyno.
Yeah, she took a couple of swings at that first move. You know, it's tricky, but not really beyond the comprehension of the, you know, almost a double gas stone to get into that small dyno.
Yeah, those 2 pink volumes, one of which is the bonus for the women's climb. They do have some beefier screw-ons on them. Like, they're not huge, but both of them combined plus the angle of the volume makes it so that you can actually get some purchase there. I think Madison's thing is she's going to have to get one hand to the left volume and one to the right. You can't match up on just the right. Ooh!
Oh, my goodness.
Hot damn, Madison.
Wow.
And she gets out of it. That's a fun one way to climb this boulder. Now she's got to rock up this layback, and so long as she can find the friction that Becca found on the finish, she's going to be locking down her first top of a Canadian Open Bouldering Nationals.
Wow, that is veteran savvy from a young climber to throw a dynamic coordination toe hook in to stick that move. Like, I see your double dyno, I raise you one toe hook.
Yeah, very valuable move. Curious where she learned that, but I dig it. And she gets to cheat the beta, something that the root setters won't be psyched about.
Nope.
But whatever, she earns the top.
I feel that we have Alex Fritz on top of boulder number 2. Hopefully we can get another look at that.
Yeah,
while we were watching Madison, we got to see that, but the crowd let us know that Alex did something exciting.
Oh, here it is. He gets set up like everybody else, and he hits it with
double.
Both. Ooh, that's something new. I didn't see that.
Nope.
I think just knowing you're able to get there stable made me think, okay, one hand is enough, but committing with 2 is either the good beta or that kid's just really damn strong.
Yeah, that is a little bit of both, I think, and a polite wave to the crowd.
Yeah.
He did do some, and the reason why I called him a cheeky bastard in 2016 is because he topped a boulder and showboated a little bit, and that was a very reserved little double wave to the crowd, we're Canadian. We like that.
We'll respect that. Yeah, but honestly, the crowd made a lot of noise for him. I think they were pretty psyched. At this point, they're kind of starved for tops, so maybe they're just psyched that somebody's getting up to this thing.
I think if you and I ran out and topped the boulder, they'd be pretty psyched at this point. So.
Oh, yeah, man. I don't think that would happen. I think that would be a bad bet to place, folks.
Yeah, let's not
have
to back that up at any point in time.
Let's leave that. Let's hope that we can get a Canadian to the top of that thing, because a lot of them have touched it, but nobody's got it just yet. Let's move on to our next climbers. Out now should be Sebastian Lazur and Bronwyn Carnes.
Come on, Monsieur Lazur.
And I got to be honest, coming into this comp, Seb was one of my favorites to win this. I'm glad he's made it through in each round, but I just want to see. I want to see it happen, man. He's had such a good, consistent season, attended all the World Cups. Like, I want to see this thing go. I want him fighting for first place.
Yeah, I hear you, and he climbed well at those World Cups too. He was not just an also ran. He put in strong efforts all the way through that season. In one event, he did place higher than Sean McCall, which is kind of the Canadian way to measure results amongst ourselves, at least. But that's the AS, the above Sean, and the after Sean. How did you do? Well, I finished ahead of Sean.
Yeah, exactly. That's and it's not something you get to say too often, but if you can get it, take it.
Absolutely. I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. I know maybe there's some issues with the feed a little bit. It's been shaky here and there, but for the most part, I think it's been going well. We've only had a couple people. Maybe that's your connection at home. Hopefully, it's not just it's not us feeding it out. We got almost 800 people watching, which is fantastic, and we'll get Seb through here, and then I want to mention something that you and I talked about yesterday. We had talked about the difference between Bronwyn. They must have talked about it.
I am loving this.
Yeah, agreed.
I am loving the young girls coming out and saying, "Hey, we heard about those moves you old people did. We're going to do them too."
We're going to do some toe hookery.
And she's got this locked.
Yes, there is definitely enough friction on top of that to make those things stick.
Very cool. And I just wanted to mention before you make your point, if you guys are in chat and if something goes wrong with the stream, do us a huge favor and just mention what the problem is. Please tell us if it's the audio cutting out, if the volume's weird, if something's cracking, if the video stopped. Let us know. That makes it a lot easier for the guys in the control booth to fix. So give us the specifics if something goes wrong. We really appreciate it.
And so what we were talking about yesterday was we have discussed the model of paying to watch live streams and not paying to watch live streams, and we're not going to rehash the whole argument about paying or not paying. But Seb Lazur with that
was an interesting
careful top. Yeah,
that was like, I can do it this way. Oh, maybe I can't hold.
Maybe I should make sure that I'm holding on to this thing the whole way up. And what we had talked about was that, and I liked your angle on it, was that maybe the chicken before the egg is the right way to go, and maybe we need the people watching to build the viewership, to build the ability to get a sponsor involved, more than we need to say, hey, if we ask you for money, we can put on a better broadcast for you. We got to show them that the broadcast is there first, and then we get people to continue to watch more and more and tell their friends. Then we can go back to a sponsor and say, hey, look, we got 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 views. That's something you maybe want to have your logo all over. And we're not going to beat it to death, but if you want to see more live streams in Canadian climbing, it's something that we definitely need to solve.
Yeah, well, okay, here's the deal. From my generation, I'm not going to pay for media anymore. That's it. You know, I pay for Netflix, but they come at me with a giant library of media, and it's $10 a month, right? And we know what climbing in the past has tried to charge. That doesn't work for me. I like watching stuff for free on YouTube. So you got to prove to me that it's worth being paid for, and climbing currently doesn't do that. I think a first step is, if people want to watch climbing, let's give them the opportunity. Let's just put the streams out and build these audience numbers, right? And when those come along, the sponsorship money will follow.
And we put the pressure on sponsorship rather than the viewer at home, and we keep that viewer base by not charging them. They don't walk away and say, I'm not going to give you $2, I'm not going to watch it at all. We get that level of viewership up, and we entice the sponsors back in, and then we manage to increase the level. And you had mentioned that it shouldn't be a short-term goal. We can't solve this in a year or two.
Too much big change involved. It's not going to be on men's number 2, and of course, Alana Yip.
Not necessarily. I obviously talked about that and said, you know, if I don't feel like dynoing, I'm going to get. And that gives you a couple of tries to make those tops. So it's after you get the bonus, it's almost a given that you're going to get to the top. But getting to the bonus has cost you a couple of tries.
Exactly, yeah, and that matters now, which is an interesting change. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I know some people are familiar, some people are not familiar, that the change in the rules has had some real fantastic debate. We don't really run by committee. The IFSC just came out and said, we're changing the format. This is what we're going to do from this point forward, and caught a lot of people off guard. There's been some really good articles written about it. Mathieu Elie wrote an article in French and English, posted it through the Block Shop's blog, shared it. I recommend that you read that. His perspective is very, very good about what we see if that's what this does.
A lot of climbing through this section of the problem. It really comes down to how you approach the top, but even this section, sometimes changes get made, but also just knowing the climbing community. Change isn't something we take kindly to, and I don't think we're necessarily going to be that great at organizing ourselves together, and especially because so many of us want to stay with that international standard to help us get better. It's not going to be from the local communities where a lot of this change come from. Sometimes the IFSC's got to try something out, and we'll see how it goes. So I don't really know how else we would get to try something, even though maybe we don't disagree, maybe we don't agree with it.
I mean, knowing climbers, that it's hard enough to herd the cats together. So in order to herd the cat as major as that, you don't need to have the full committee of the community involved to make that decision. We did see the community push back on pay for live streams last year, so there's definitely, we do come up together as a community if we see something we don't like, and people are split. About half the people I talk to like the new change, tops and bonuses, and about half of them don't like it. So it's not like we arrived at an easy answer anyway.
Down, these climbers got to match their competitors. To stay in this game, especially since nobody topped first problem for men or women. You've only got these 3 chances to separate yourself. Currently, Alex Fritz is standing at the top of the standings with 1 top and 2 zones, matched by Seb Lazur with the tie broken by attempts. Fisher and Beck tops so far. Weber and Allison Vest haven't had their attempts yet, so it could be a lot of ladies with this top.
So it looks like people are saying that there's buffering and cutting out every sort of 30 seconds or so. So it's freezing and loading an icon. So that's the issue that we seem to be having, which is related to
just the internet connection.
The internet connection that we're working with.
So yeah, if things are working out for you, at least we know that there will be a replay available. So we're just going to keep rocking regardless of the stream and get this thing done. And Nathan Smith starts easy, but man, not making that.
Not making it out. Someone said, didn't Sean McCall lose really badly last year? Sean McCall won Nationals last year.
Yeah, you might be thinking last year we hosted the Tour de Bloc Championships at this same gym. Tour de Bloc Championships is not the national competition. It's kind of a separate legacy tour in Canada. He did come second, which I don't call losing that bad.
I wouldn't say losing that bad in second.
But I mean, Tour de Bloc, kind of confusing.
Kinds of trouble hanging on to that for
this is
of these 2 volumes, and and then went toe hook. So yeah, she slipped off a couple times trying to go double to the first volume.
When static, I want it to be landing the ideal, but I guess I can
think into it, and
and that's Nathan back on.
This will be his last try. I think I heard the whistle. Give him down to 1 minute.
He's a tall boy keeping the low foot and the high hand. Damn, man, that's harsh.
That is harsh.
Is he going to get on? Oh, he is.
He's going to run at one more. Sometimes this bites you. The hustle causes some foot slips, but he's definitely desperately trying to get a top out of that boulder. I know he heard the crowd, so I know he knows that a couple people did it, and feels that, as you said, we're running out of boulders to top. So if you haven't topped one and you haven't topped two, it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, it's got to hurt now that for the first time this evening, you're starting to realize, oh, I can be behind, because that wasn't really happening after the first problem, and now it's getting real. And yeah, we're basically halfway through these problems, so that's gonna be a lot of work to make up for. Well, we're down to our first place qualifiers now. We've got Sean McCall and Allison Vest coming out, two of our favorites. You're expecting Sean and Allison to win. In fact, they're your picks.
They better start rock climbing things to the very top and not to the very middle.
Yeah, man, you need a little bit of help. I mean, I'm not saying I'm necessarily doing better, except yes, Alana Yip is in first, and yes, Alex Fritz is also in first. But you know, it's early, so I'm not gonna count my chickens before they hatch. And here goes Sean. This one should be a pretty easy work for him. Not even worrying about the feet. And it is interesting that he's getting some different angles there. Allison here, just trying to sort this thing out. Now Sean is getting up into that flat hold. You can see just towards the top of your video.
Screen.
He's going to be making the jump right about now, and of course he sticks it.
Flash from Sean. That's a big boost into first place, I feel.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I'm not sure how it'll separate him and Alex Fritz. We'll see. But Allison Vest also making it look good early on. Should be another top for her, and that'll be it for problem number 2.
Just like that. Slip at the beginning and then re-rocked out.
Yeah, and it looks like actually the house internet is completely down in the gym, so I'm really curious if this is going out or not. I got no idea, man. I'm gonna fire up my backups, but there's the replay of Sean, and man, he made that look good.
Yeah.
Like just secure finish on that thing, no problem at all. Talk about showing the difference between a World Cup champion and a lot of the other Canadian climbers. A lot of them have a long way to go.
Agreed, and it's you expect for some reason that all the boulders are going to get topped. So all of a sudden you get a little bit surprised that he didn't top this, that someone didn't top that, and then you come along and get your mitts on a boulder that is well within your ability that other people have really had huge issues with, and then somebody at the top of the game shows you that if this is how you climb it, it's not that difficult. So
yeah,
the gap comes and goes depending on the style of the boulder, depending on who's climbing at what point of the evening, and Sean looked basically to be in exactly the same level as everybody else on boulder number 1, and then turned around and just destroyed boulder number 2.
Yeah, just bats it out of the park on number 2. Now going into problem number 3, we get to some interesting problems, some steep stuff for both of them, including that big burly, volume cube section in the cave for the women, which I'm excited to see. You mentioned that there might be some kind of tricky beta in that, and now we get to find out if that's real or not.
We get to see who decides that they want to climb with their toes first.
Exactly. We will have to wait one climber because, of course, David Trudeau comes out first and on his own, so we're going to flick to the wall, hopefully, and see how things are going for our Quebecois climber, our 7th place qualifier, David Trudeau, on men's number 3.
Monsieur Trudeau. So this is the triple coordination dyno.
For the men, is it?
Yeah, this is the 1, 2, and under.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, no, they're both beside each other. I was looking past it. You're correct. This is the pinchy blobby pinchy, blobby boulder.
Yeah, exactly. You're going from those big pinches with not a whole lot to step on and into, like, you know, very, very gross volume. So I'm curious to see how their toes are playing on those big blue Thunderbirds when they got their hands up on the black bubbies. And then, of course, after that, just the launch up on the other side of the volume is going to be interesting.
And how much opposition and how much squeeze you can get on that volume, whose angles are not super friendly.
Yeah. So, yeah, seeing the heel, that looks pretty good, and he's going to need a toe to launch, and he does. Now, there's not a screw on that next hold, but it's not terrible. But you mentioned something about maybe needing the left hand to compress the volume as well?
That's what they were saying, that the move off of those two black soil holds, the left one is not good enough for you to hold the swing with. It's going to come out immediately. The bonus hold isn't really good enough to double to, so they're thinking that you're going to go up, two hands, bonus, and the side of that volume is going to slow you down enough to be able to match it and keep going. Definitely not obvious.
No,
definitely
not at all.
not easy. And as you were saying, those footholds aren't really that great for jumping vertically off of unless you're standing on the very, very, very top. And even then, the angles are not that friendly for you.
Yeah, exactly. You look at this shot here and you say, okay, if I was going to move from these two black features up to the blue hold, the left face of that giant gray volume is not the kind of thing that you would think to grab. The angle's not there. I would be, personally, I'd be surprised if any of the climbers figure that out. So I feel like they're mostly going to try and stick the blue one with a hand still down on the black holds.
And just think that they need to squeeze it harder every time instead of try something that's maybe a little outside of their box of tricks. So you'll see here, you'll get an angle on how bad this hold really, really is.
Oh, so he's trying to get the moon kick over. Or the ninja kick, I should say.
And that would be a pretty surprising turn of events to be able to get that onto that. I mean, you can't really see it, but there is a dimension volume stuck on the wall over to the right.
Yeah, it is bad, though. Like, it's the kind of thing that you can step off of when you got both hands up on the bonus volume, but definitely not in a kick. And there you go. You see how steep this thing is. This is, I believe, a men's 3. Yeah, we're looking at like a 23-degree overhang.
And you saw him there. He decided to try and squeeze the volume and slowed it down a little bit. So if he tries that again, maybe a couple more. Yeah, hopefully. A couple more tries. If he's got time for one or two more, then he gets to dial this move in now that he's sorted out different beta to dial that move in.
Hopefully that's enough positive reinforcement because, you know, if I were in that position, I would say, well, that didn't help much.
And so maybe I'll move on to something else again.
Maybe he's smarter than me and he'll say, okay, you know what, that gave me enough. I can do it a bit better and make it really work.
No, yeah, he did go back to the original.
Yeah,
which
didn't opt for it this time.
But he's throwing himself at it. I mean, this is sort of 4 and 5 tries now to try and get up this boulder here. And maybe it's not that sapping to do the first two moves, so it's not that big a deal to jump back on again. I know some of the younger climbers don't take as much time to stop and think about it. They do run back up and get on with as much or as little time as possible in between attempts.
Yeah, straight up, it is a fairly positive start to this climb. Those two Thunderbird pinches are big and far apart, so you get some easy compression and a nice kicker volume at the bottom. Once you get that left heel hook, you're locked in. That thing's nice and deep, and it makes it easy to start that part of the climb feeling secure. And it is really this move to bonus where you got to dial it up. So you can definitely take attempts to bonus. It's not going to burn you out too much.
No, and his last try, he tried to double 1-2. And even at that, the hold just isn't very good. I mean, sometimes there's no other way to slice it. A bad hold's a bad hold, and you can't just squeeze harder. You need to do something different.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're moving on to our next qualifiers. We got Jason Holowach and Rebecca Frangos, or Becca Frangos. I don't know why I ever say her full name. Seems like nobody does.
We could call her Rebecca
why not?
From here on out.
Yeah, let's go for it. But now is the chance to finally see that problem you're talking about in the back of that cave, those like big, steep cubes. And when you talk about powerful girls in this, I mean, like, I don't know the West Coast girls too much, but I look at Alison Vest and I look at Bronwyn and Madison from my side of the country, and I say, yeah, that's something they're really interested in. I don't know for the rest of them is, like Becca Frangos, I haven't got to see her climb too much. Is this something that's kind of in her wheelhouse?
I would say, I mean, she is a short, stout, compact climber. She's got good levers. I mean, she's a muscular girl. She can pull on those holds if she needs to. Okay. And I think that as much as everybody is getting better at climbing these low-angle parkour coordination-style complexity boulders, people still like to get their squeeze on. So people still train pull-ups. People still campus. People still get excited about getting a little bit upside down and bending their arms.
Yeah,
more than just sort of tiptoeing around boulders. So
Yep.
they'll be excited to fire a little bit of that adrenaline up and get some of the big muscles working, especially after especially after being faced with the slab boulder number 1. I mean, they want to get as far away from that as possible at this point and say, let me go grab something, wrap my arms around it, and jump a bit.
Yeah, and this is as far away from that as you can get. And you can see your climbers, Rebecca and Jason.
Jason knows that he needs to do this boulder to even retain a hope of a podium spot. Yes, no one else did the other one. Alex and Sean were Alex, Sean, Francis, and Seb all did the second boulder.
Yeah, there were some tops, and he didn't get one of them, so he's got to show up. I mean, again, we're basically competing out of 3 boulders for the men since none of them topped the first one.
So this is a must-do.
Yeah, it does kind of change the dynamic, and the next couple climbs, we're going to have to see how they go. This is obviously shaping up to be a difficult one, but the next problem looks hard, too, because that's the coordination one, and, I mean, that's just looked like it's taking it to the next level. So that one top might be it.
Oh, so Jay slowing that way down. We like to say that he has hollow bones. Jay Hollowatch climbs like a bird, and he did make that look pretty good on his first try.
Yeah, the fact that he even had the thought to use that left hand on that's kind of next level stuff for me. I would never think of that. So if he stays committed to that idea and just tries to get a bit more squeeze this time, it could definitely go. I don't think many of the boys will be trying that first go.
No, and this is the kind of move that's about slowing down the dyno. So you don't have to go as hard as you need to. You need to go with just enough of that energy so that you're not swinging too far. So getting that just enough dyno is technically difficult when you can't just throw yourself at it.
Yep.
You see Jade just going a little bit lighter, and then hopefully one more time a little bit lighter again.
Yeah.
Becca's taken a couple of shots at the start of this and come up just a bit shy
on
that first block.
Depending on the camera angle, you kind of realize how big of a dyno it is to one of those protruding cubes. It'll be interesting to see when she sticks it. I think she's back on the wall now, and we'll have to see if she's going to land this thing. But it is a big dyno. Like, you know, there's not a whole lot you can do. So yeah, big falls from her in some earlier attempts.
I mean, is this taking us into modern art now? Is this a cubist boulder at this point?
It could be. You know, I don't know if cubism was that literal, but yeah, it's pyrite inspired maybe. I don't know. We can some art references, geology references, whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
We can make this happen.
Volume references.
Yes. Yeah, we could just go with the classic, you know, turn up the volume. But yeah, this is looking like a tough set of climbs for these climbers.
Let's see what Becca gets up to with time winding down.
And this is the replay of her last attempt. And she gets a really good wind up and touching it. Okay, so I didn't know she was touching it, so that's solid. But
she's swinging and missing, but it's far. So keep your eye on Becca in the corner.
Come on, Becca. Damn.
And she's sort of running but not jumping. So she's running and leaning backwards, and she really needs to be compressing. Oh my goodness.
For all the talk about squeezing the volume, he doesn't even bother, and that's the attempt that makes it go. Now he's got
little
the right
Jay Hollowatch. Oh, this is tense. Oh, my hands are sweating.
So he gets his right foot out to the foot volume, but then says, no, I don't like that. It comes back. That just turns you around and gets you twisted. It makes it a lot harder to reach out to the finish hold. I have a feeling he's going to be regretting that. So close, and definitely the best attempt we've seen so far from any of these guys on this problem, and all for nothing.
I think with one more crack, we're going to see everything he's got in the tank. He doesn't want to walk away from this.
Let's do it right now. No, just can't do it. That's got to be it for him. I can't imagine him taking another.
The skin is getting thin. He looked at his fingertips after every single attempt.
Yep.
And Becca deciding that bouncing off the mat wasn't really going to be fun for too many more tries is going to sign her card and walk back to ISO.
Yeah, that'll knock your noodle around if you do that for too long. But yeah, well, that's a surprise cut. It's all good. So next one's out, Alex Fritz and Alex Fritz and Madison Fisher. Maddie, I'm betting she takes this one. I feel like dynos, that's a thing she can do. Sorry, not the problem.
No, it's. I mean, you said it. I heard you say it.
I didn't say anything. Everybody relax.
Oh, hey, everybody relax here.
Everybody
We're
chill
just
out.
going to bet that she sticks this move.
Yeah.
And then works her way back up this boulder.
Yeah, I think so. And Alex Fritz for this problem, if we've already seen some progress on it, I imagine he can get some some work done on this thing.
Yep.
So let's see what they can do out on the wall.
Rushing right away. We're still shy of Wi-Fi here, so if you're on the stream, we can't hear you. Okay. Oh. So house internet down is good. I got a text, no more choppy streaming. There's just too many people hanging on the Wi-Fi. So what we can no longer do is see the chat. So if you want...
Alex Fritz looks like he's actually going to make this thing.
Oh, look.
Oh, it looks so close
It looks
to
so
Jay's
good.
successful attempt, too.
90-degree arms. You can text us. I'll just give you Ty's number.
No chance,
No,
everybody.
don't do that. You can find either of us on Facebook and send us a message if you have a burning question. Oh, let's get back to the live action. Things are happening. So Madison stuck the dyno and is now wandering around these volumes. Let's stay with her and see what she does on the finish.
So we were talking about the possibility of some foot first Veda on this women's climb. And I feel like the temptation to go hands first because of the bonus is going to really shake people around. I don't know if they want to go feet first, but we'll just have
feet
to
on
see.
a bonus counts. You just have to control it.
I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure it is hands only unless something changed, but I'm pretty sure it is hands only. I don't know. But we're going to see what goes on this thing. I mean, it's a good hold to hang on, but I wouldn't want to hang there for too long.
No,
like
I
she's
wouldn't want to
doing.
hang there for too long either. And you're looking for something to campus from, but the boulder itself is in it your way.
Yes.
As you're trying to come up around the corner.
Yeah. You can't just reach over because there's a giant cube in your way. It's the one you're holding on to, so definitely got to try something a bit different.
Alex Fritz making progress each time he tries this. Oh, and he too is now electing to try and squeeze the side of the volume and hands on hips. Like, what do I need to do to send this boulder? I mean, we're running out of climbers. And we're running out of problems, and it's way too early to say that the finals were set more difficult than they needed to be because we have seen some tops. So the boulders are hard. So guys are getting tested, girls are getting tested. No problem with that at all. I think they need to know what it feels like. Madison really getting a lot of momentum, but
trying
not
to
really
find that
reaching.
swing, but I don't think she was confident enough to straighten out her body to get her feet over there.
Look at this clever toe hook.
This is cool, but I don't think she's got the reach to get that. That's just not convincing me, and I can't tell if she's... No, I guess
I thought she was waving by.
Yeah, I thought she was saying, I'm out of here, but it looks like she's just trying to shake out. Yeah, I think if you open your body up straight enough to get the toe hook, it also makes you more susceptible to flying off the back in that swing, so she's trying not to commit too hard to it, but it might be what you have to do to actually make it happen. We'll have to see. And Alex Fritz looking like he's a little bit frustrated with this thing, and we'll see if he can actually make it go. But yeah. You notice her arms stay completely bent, and then she just says, okay, I'm done with that, not making it happen. I think she really does need to straighten out to really stretch out the body.
All right, Maddie back up, Alex back up. And Alex getting diminishing returns on every try on that boulder.
That
Madison,
looked good for a second, but the angle of that boulder means you're basically grabbing nothing. It's not juggy on that side, Madison. Well, she knows it now, but it's too bad she learned it late. But I mean, a sick attempt of finally getting to see somebody on the.
And it is a bonus.
It is, yeah, it is probably a bonus. Yeah, too bad for Alex as well. It was, he's the horse I bet on. So come on now, bud.
Maybe send that guy a text.
Man, if he's got a phone in ISO.
Yeah, if Tyler suddenly leaves, if Tyler suddenly disappears from sitting at this desk, it's because he snuck around back into ISO to give Alex a few pointers on the last boulder.
Yeah, if I got to give him some beta or anything like that, I'll have to. Just anything to make my money back, It's all that climbing caster money.
All the cash that we keep throwing around.
Yeah, exactly. That's just how it goes. Well, who do we got next? Sebastien Lazur from Quebec, and then Bronwyn Carness, who I think could take it a step further than Madison did. So,
and she did say, I like the steep.
She did say
it's on
that.
record.
Of the few words she said.
Of the very few words she said.
She was pretty certain about those ones. So let's see how this thing goes when the judges let them back on the wall.
They come out and have a stare and have that reminder, oh yeah, this boulder. I think I'm excited to climb it, but at the same time, I'm not sure that my forearms and the inside of my elbows are up to the challenge.
Big old wind-up. Hopefully lands a first try, but not quite.
That's the kind of downer that you're shy about the first time.
Oh, yeah.
You're worried about going too far and hitting your head. You're worried about too much momentum. And like a few moves we've seen, it's a learned movement. You're doing really well if you stick that first try. So you might need a couple of shots at it.
Yeah, well, a dyno that starts with a run and then you got to kind of throw backwards. There's a bunch of steps that aren't obvious when you first mount up. So, yeah, you might need one burn to figure it out. Hopefully they get that out of the way.
It is a change of direction.
And we make it happen. It sounds like something just happened. So my guess is that Bronwyn just stuck the dyno. There it is.
She is.
And trying the feet, if she, see,
look at this.
I like the straight arm. She's got the length now.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
I like the clamp. I feel like she needs to get a toe hook or a heel on the top. There it is.
There it is.
Come on, BK. Let's see this thing
happen. Take a photo
happen.
if you're standing in the room. That's the photo you want to take. Look at that right there.
Oh, damn.
Wow. And then.
That's what I like to see.
And their heart is racing now.
If this climb wasn't three-dimensional before, it is now as she gets into the pressy section, stepping again on not very much. There are no screw-ons on any of these volumes.
This is a head scum, shoulder scum.
You're just playing the angles, trying to get into this undercling kaiju.
And I think she's smiling, or maybe she's just...
At the very least, she's having fun, and the crowd is having fun with her. Just a few more fingers.
Look at that fail. Oh, I did it! Oh, I did it!
That's a happy girl. She doesn't know how to get out of this, though.
Like I could just sit here for the next 3 minutes. How do I get down?
Yeah, somebody throw up some down climb jugs. I want to see that American red tape on this thing. Come on now. Great work from Bronwyn Carnes. What a fun boulder, man. We're at Up the Bloc in Mississauga, so if you want to try these climbs, maybe come down in the next few days. I'm not sure if they're all going to stay up. I definitely shouldn't guarantee that, but I'm sure a few of them will. So if you get a chance, come down here. It's a good time, and these problems look like a blast. Even though most of us can't top any of them.
No, but it's a good test if you're thinking about what does it take to be a competition climber. It's that. It's the ability to read that movement and then put the moves together. Seb Lazur going really slowly. That is some slow movement from Seb Lazur, looking for any type of purchase under those so-wheel gloves. Desperately hunting for some friction.
Oh, going to the foot first as well. That's really interesting. He's just got to make sure that foot is planted on this very, very shallow foot. The lock-off, it's a big lock-off,
too. Oh, my goodness, and still a press. There's nothing to grab up there.
Using that left foot can push him in a bit, but he's got to get around the top, and it just doesn't happen. What a bummer. Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. I was just going to say, oh, baby. Think about the amount of energy expended to get to that point. And I wonder if this is the kind of boulder where if you've got there, yes, you've learned the movement. Can you get back there? How much did that burn you out?
Yeah, if Seb Lazur is a calorie counter, it is officially broken after an attempt like that.
Yeah.
You cannot quantify the amount of effort that goes into something like this kind of problem. Jeepers creepers.
Look at that. Just you can see his elbow shaking, trying to hold that body position.
Yeah, unbelievable effort. And a big old Bronwyn smile.
Oh, dear. This face is my favorite face right here.
Yeah.
I have to jump down.
Yeah, asking for how to get down. Yeah, that's a good time. That's some funny stuff.
I'm sure she'll be psyched that was a slow motion replay.
Yeah, exactly. She's gonna have that. I hope some kid at her high school memes that into an Instagram thing. Goes
quick
around
screenshot.
And absolutely. Yeah. People would be confused looking at that. They're like, "That's what rock climbing is? You just sit on some wooden boxes up in the air? Like that doesn't."
I think Dustin actually said, "This is not bouldering."
I would definitely say it's not rock climbing.
It's not rock climbing.
But I don't know if I care about that. I'm not a rock climber.
I'm here to see some competition style bouldering, and that is definitely that.
Exactly that. Who do we got next? Who's up next with a chance to make these things go down?
Alana Yip.
Tasty, yeah, and Francis Bilodeau.
Alana Yip, that feels like first try. And she's gonna go feet.
Oh, she's got the smarts. She's landing these things on her first attempt. not swinging around too much. She knows exactly how much momentum she needs. She knew exactly what to do in this, and her body's just following along with the instructions.
And although they're making it look easy, matching your hands to a double toe hook takes some real flexibility through your hips and your hamstrings. As you start to reach for that foot with your hand, it gets harder and harder to hang up those toes. So, yes, they make it look really easy, but that is some real strength and flexibility involved in order to make that actually work.
Yeah, you said it. You know, these simple things that we call like playground climbs, there's a lot of complexity in it, and sometimes we forget that because we see kids doing it out in trees and stuff.
Right.
But it's some legit power, and again, these setters are taking those moves and pushing them to the max. And I think this will be a simple little two-finger touch.
There you go. She is psyched.
That's a smiling boulder, man. That just makes people happy.
Francis unsuccessful on his first couple of swings at this. Not doing anything wrong per se, just not having enough gas to make this stick. It's maybe the fourth time we've seen the hands on the hips while I'm staring at this boulder. What did you want me to do here?
Yeah, man. Well, it's nationals, and I think it's one of those places where you end up in a few spots where you got to think real hard.
Yep.
Not just about the boulder, but also if you're actually having any fun doing this right now.
Am I having fun today?
Yeah, there's a lot of people to stand in front of and fall a lot. And that's definitely one of the downsides of being a professional competitive climber. But I mean, I think a top like this that Alana saw, that kind of makes it worth it when you get those sick tops with moves you've never tried before. That's just fun stuff, man.
Yeah, it boosts your energy back up again. The ability to get out of your own head is something that competition climbing really tests. You know you have to keep trying. You know you have another boulder to go, and it's hard to realize that you might be sitting in 4th or 5th or 6th place, but you can't. You have to bring yourself up to the point to find the energy to go and do that next try and that next boulder. And it's part of that motivation. It's part of the ability to focus. And the mental game of competition bouldering is really, really, really significant. It's not to be understated that coming out and climbing boulders is not just about grabbing holds and running up and down again and going home. The mental aspect is really hard, and it's hard to train.
No kidding. And I mean, we saw a lot of that this weekend when we saw those climbers who we expected to get higher, and they expected it too, but all that pressure, putting a lot of weight on them and holding them down from getting into the next couple rounds. I think this is going to be Francis's final attempt on this climb. The whistle has definitely gone for the 1 minute mark. Finally tries something a little more along the lines of the right beta, but just too dynamic.
Yeah, and a bit half-hearted. A bit, I don't think I've got what this is going to do, and I know that the clock is running down.
Yeah, we're 3 climbs in, and I mean, at that point, you start saying, like, I'm having trouble with this. You're getting tired. It's your muscles. Like, these problems ask a lot of you, and if you can't bring it, well, I shouldn't say you can't bring it all, but just after those first couple problems, man, you don't have everything you had when you started.
And after this morning, and after yesterday. So don't discount the fact that climbing yesterday and then climbing this morning takes its toll.
Yes.
It's not just wake up in the morning and wipe the slate clean. If you've ever had a really hard training day, if you've climbed a lot, you know what it's like to wake up the next day and think, well, I'm going to take a day off.
Yep.
Actually, no, you're going to climb a set of harder boulders and then another set of harder boulders.
Yeah.
So that recovery and reworking yourself back up to that mindset and that physical limit, that's not easy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's see if Nathan Smith has wiped the slate clean after not getting a top on the first or second problems, along with Alyssa Weber in her attempt on women's number 3. And, of course, they've heard the crowds cheering. They know that some tops have happened on these women's climbs. And I'm sure Bronwyn and Alana were like all smiles coming back into ISO. So they know some good stuff has happened for their competitors. And
they've gone down.
Yeah, they got to match it at this point.
And they know that Seb did more than anyone else did because they heard that escalating and followed by that ooh.
Yes.
So they know that he didn't top this boulder, but they know that he did good work on it. And they might be thinking, oh my goodness, maybe all he did was stick the bonus.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Oh, look at that. Very clean from Nathan.
Yeah, looking very good. But, of course, this is what we got to see from Seb. And so long as he can keep the foot in the right position so he doesn't push himself out, oh, my goodness.
Wow, that's like the 4th time you've done that. like very specifically
The
told people how to fall off the boulder.
The second I start telling you how to climb, everybody,
Yeah, it's like they think, you know what, I hear you, Ty, but I'm just going to fall here instead.
I just got to shut up. This is not the career for me. Oh, well. But at least
it was nice having you.
At least we've seen that this start part goes for Nathan, and he got that part done early, unlike
quick.
Seb, right? So he's still got 3 minutes about on the clock. He can actually make something happen later on.
Yeah, he's going to have lots of gas in the tank for that.
Yeah. Alyssa is still in the middle of her flash burn right now. Made the dyno look easy, but I don't know if she's ready to try the foot first beta.
No, I mean, she looks fully committed to wrestling up this with a couple of matching heel hooks.
Oh, if this
But
goes,
look at the
I'll
power.
be a happy guy.
Look at the power this is taking. Just to shuffle a hand's width at a time. And what has she got going on right now?
Oh, damn.
I mean, that's like a knee, hip, double heel hooks.
I'm a fan of that beta. That's Alyssa's making fans right now, showing us something new that we haven't seen from the other climbers so far. And this basically puts her into the position that the other climbers were in after going foot first. So
and then coming all the way back around
exactly.
again.
If she's saving moves and saving the juice, then she's got an even higher chance of getting the top of this thing.
Nathan flexing those biceps to make that move static.
Yeah, just stick that toe, Nathan, and that's all I'm going to say. You're on your own because I don't want to jinx it. Give me a top, bud.
Got to get in tight, Nathan. Got to get in real tight. And he's got to be able to press this shoulder down. That mantle he's only halfway there.
Yeah, and you're seeing in the foot, these guys are sticking their right foot onto that foot volume, but they're keeping the legs straight. I'm not sure they're willing to put weight on top of that foot because the angle's so sheer, but I do feel like you actually got to rock off it and push off it to get to the top of that volume.
I think you're 100% correct about that, and they are showing you that they don't want to do the thing that they have to do, and root setters love that. You're like, this is what you need to do, whether you like it or not. Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
Alyssa Weber, after probably more than 2 minutes,
Yeah, that was a long burn.
has come off.
If she gets back on this thing, she's going to be pumped off her face.
Right, and the amount of gas it took, although I know you liked that walking her way up the outside
Oh,
of the big
yeah.
block, I mean, she was getting everything she had simply to move 6 inches at a time.
Yeah, but the thing is, when she made it through that position, then she spent a lot of time in the left heel hook part. She didn't really get into pushing into the next volume. And, man, that's just... I can't imagine getting a successful top after a long attempt like that.
And I think she's going to walk away.
She's done. That is tough stuff, and that's probably...
That's a flash to bonus and hoping that that keeps you in the running.
Yeah, that's she's going to be hoping. Now, we got the bonus, and I'm paying all my... Oh, my God,
Smitty,
Nathan
what are you doing?
Smith.
What are you doing? No.
Not worth it. You're already able to get both hands on that thing without that, but an interesting try. I got excited for a second.
Yeah, I mean, you've caught me a bit speechless in order to have changed your mind to this degree
Was he
on your
trying to
last
get a
try. He
knee
was trying to
bar?
get a knee bar.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, he's this far away from doing that boulder with one more try and no time on the clock, and he dramatically changes his beta to something that really had no hope of working out.
I think that just shows you how difficult that foot is to stand on. That foot is right there. Any better foot, everybody would say, yep, that's the thing I step on, I go to the finish.
Yeah.
But because it's so bad, they're like, I'm looking for anything else, including putting my feet above my head. Just please get me off this volume.
Anything but this hold that you've given me to make the last move. Literally anything.
So who's up next? Our first place qualifiers, Sean McCall and Allison Vest for the final burns of problems number 3. I'm really curious to see how Sean does in his flash attempt. See if this is one of those climbs where he really paints the picture of how far ahead he is of everybody else in the scene.
Well, this is going to be the classic bent arm catch. You know, he's not going to go swinging around on this bonus if he does even jump to it.
Yeah, and of course, Allison Vest making the dyno look easy. I'm expecting good things from her. Always Sean gets the beta right, but really doesn't look like he committed too hard to that.
Oh, and Allison looks like she's was lining up the campus and is now gonna go.
She's just trying to get as many 360s on
as
this volume
possible
as she can get.
Not until we have style points awarded is it worth getting extra 360s involved.
Yeah,
but double heel hooks.
Yeah, it ends up where we expected in the long run, and
then all the way back around again.
And this is where Alyssa never really got to get out of.
Yeah, she got here, and I think she was just so tired.
Yeah, but Allison's got the shoulders, and she's going to wedge herself into that thing no matter what it takes.
Yeah.
Ooh, the compress.
Oh my goodness, that foot slip.
She's rushing this thing.
She's really rushing it.
You got to chill out, girl. There it is. Get the weight on your back. Don't mess it up.
Look at that. She definitely gave the sly. Oh, look, I did it.
Yeah, that's that got sketchy for a second though. Sean's sticking the move. And let's see if his mastery of footwork.
This is our last try to see this thing get done.
This is different, dropping the back knee, giving him that extra flexibility. He might be able to get, even though he's a shorter competitor, he's getting his hand up. That's Sam.
The foot blew, but he showed you that he was able to control the top of the finish hold. And if he can just get that foot to stick for 1 second longer, he's going to be able to match that thing. Allison Vest going, like, almost unable to get her head out from underneath that block. With the same wry smile you saw from Alana and from Bronwyn. All right, Sean McCall, with the clock running down, and at this point, tops are pure solid gold.
Taking a moment to limber up.
Yeah, and you know that, I mean, Sean doesn't need to win this comp to be on the national team. He's a World Cup overall champion. He's a World Cup gold medalist. He wants to be the Canadian champion. He takes a lot of pride in being the Canadian champion. So he doesn't just care that, oh, it's fine, I can do whatever I want. He wants to win every single comp he walks up to. He is that kind of competitor.
Yeah, no, exactly. And he asked for the crowd to get behind him, and of course they obliged. This will probably be his last attempt. Let's see if he can actually make this go. He did get it once. He needs to get it again, but he's being really
overly careful.
Yeah.
And
that's an odd way to finish that. Okay, yeah, he really locked up there. That was really confusing, but I think we got a replay to show us a bit of one of his earlier attempts. I'm not sure if this was the one we just saw or one a little bit earlier. Yeah, so this is the one I think that, yeah, look at this pause. Just waiting here. And I'm not sure what he's trying to decide at this point, but that was a really uncharacteristic moment for him.
It looks like he was trying to get as high as possible to cut down on the swing as much as possible. So where Nathan almost locked that off, Sean, as a shorter climber, was trying to get up, 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 up.
Yeah, that's fair.
To give himself as much room to fall in without losing that body tension.
Yeah.
But that was like 4 or 5 seconds of just staring and looking. And I mean, I know you're a fit guy, but there's only so much you can ask.
You're talking about Sean McCall, right? You're not talking about me.
Oh no, I was talking about you. Clearly,
no,
100%, 100%.
Please, I'm trying to be humble about my physical fitness. But we're going on to problem number 4.
This is it.
Nothing else matters. If you want to make a mark, this is your last chance.
This is your last chance, and the boulders are hard.
They are, man. And let's see what David Trudeau is going to do in his final burn. Open Nationals 2018 over on the wall.
This is the triple coordination dyno.
Yeah, this is the complex one. I'm excited to see this thing. Here he goes. Not quite landing the first. So are you suggesting that they're going to launch off the start, hit this right-handed pinch with one hand, come through with the left hand to a crimp, and then get the right hand around the corner again?
And yes, and catch that volume to control compression on that last one.
That's like a 10 feet.
That is a long distance to travel, and you saw it, David, I think, tried to just stick the first one, thinking that he could then rose under to the next one. So maybe the route setters obviously think that someone might try that. The campus rose and then the same cut under probably burns the same amount of energy, and they're never worried about that. They'll say, yeah, okay, you can skip my sequence, but if it's harder, then have at it. We don't really care if you're going to do something different if it's harder than the way we set it.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's probably options. You know, you look at a climb like this and you say, okay, lots of volumes. They're opposing each other. There's lots of screw-ons and jibs and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if Nathan Smith tries a knee bar on this one as well. Who knows?
Maybe he's going to try and get it and then press right hand all the way up. He's going to skip that far right and go all the way up to that so-will and maybe skip the bonus as well. And we see that. It's been a while since I've seen a boulder in which you could skip the bonus. Dan Archambault, who climbed in qualifiers, is well known for dynoing to the finish of boulders past 80% of them, and it's been successful. So wary be the route setter who sets an S-shaped boulder in which you can dyno from the start to the finish. And I don't think anyone's solved the sequence in which they've climbed around a bonus and could simply avoid it.
Yeah.
These are all been in-sequence movement.
Yeah, so things to look out for at this point. We have only a couple guys with tops in this climb. Sean McCall, Seb Lazur, and Alex Fritz have tops. McCall on top due to bonuses and attempts. So very tight. The rest of the boys with no tops right now. So this is really the last chance to get up in the running, and you're almost hoping that other climbers fail if you want to get up on the podium. For the women, though, we're looking at 2 tops for Allison, Alana, and Bronwyn, and 1 top from Maddie, Alyssa, and Becca. A lot of things could change, but for now, Allison Vest sitting in first place. So depending on how things go on this women's climb, which we'll see in a few moments, man, it could be some interesting results.
Absolutely, and it could come down to attempts at that point as well. Both of them with a couple climbers with 2 tops each, and then if a couple of them get 3 tops each, it might come down to how many flashes those turn out to. The table can turn very quickly on you from first to second or third if you all have the same number of tops.
Yeah, the field is wide open. And yeah, curious kind of seeing David try this. And with the beta he's using, getting both hands on that thing, it really doesn't allow for you to swing your left hand through. I'm curious if any of those climbers that attended the Udo Newman clinic in Montreal might have more insight as to hitting this and getting some rotational force in the body to get your left hand through there.
And reading that first time, and I mean, you know they would have talked about it, and maybe he just doesn't think that he can do that dynamically. This would be my personal nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
To walk out as a competitor and be like, I have to do a coordination dyno. I'm not a good dynoer. I mean, not saying that that because I'm not a good dynoer, they're not good dynoers. But this type of dyno is just so difficult to get your head around.
Man, and he's almost making it look good with that ninja kick into the wall.
He's going to run the clock down on his last boulder, as you should.
Ooh, baby. He's
you should climb until that clock buzzes on boulder number 4, and the crowd loves it. They know that he's gassed, but they really want him to go out with a smile.
What a burn, man. Props to him for putting that much effort into this climb. I mean, yeah, if I was in an Open Bouldering Nationals, especially after having a string of successful Youth Boulder Nationals, I'd be saying, you know, I need to get as much climbing done in here as possible. So good on him for really sticking with this one and giving it some burns. Definitely not the day he was hoping for.
No, I would say that excited to make finals, and some people would say, "Oh, that's your icing on the cake." Hey, you made finals.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't matter.
No,
you're in finals. You want to move up as far as you can, even going 7th to 6th, 6th to 5th. It's not enough to say, "Oh, I made finals."
Yeah, exactly.
You want to be able to feel like you put on the best show possible. And I hope that he does feel that way. I mean, he climbed hard.
Yes.
But you're definitely going to wish that you topped some more boulders.
Yeah, exactly. And now we finally get to see women's number 4, a beautiful climb. Bright red Morpho shields. And see, this is the kind of one I look at and I say, okay, this looks like a simple climb. So for the best climbers, there's a lot of flash potential. And if flashes start coming up and we see those top climbers keeping their positions locked, there's not much room for the lower place climbers to really advance. So we'll have to see if I'm right or if I'm completely misreading this problem. But I'm excited either way.
No, and I think you're spot on. It's not tricky. It's squeezy. So the flash potential is there because you're not going to misread the sequence. It's just being able to hang on to those holds one after another, after another, after another. You're not going to go, oh, what should I try this time? What should I try next time? You're just going to say, oh, I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm going to squeeze the snot out of it.
Yeah, and again, keep an eye on the thumbs on women's number 4. There are bolt holes in all of those holds that provide a huge opportunity for getting a thumb in there, making it more of a pinch, and we saw that being critical beta in the qualifying round for the men. So watch the ladies' fingers, or watch their thumbs specifically when they start making their way up that climb. Jay Hollowatch was trying a bit of the ninja kick as well, like David. The one thing is that kind of, you know, it'll help you hold on to that a little more controlled, so we'll see if that is the beta. But it would definitely stop kind of a triple dyno move, so we'll see what works for these guys.
So that's two climbers out who've come nowhere near showing us that they're even ready to try the movement that the route setters were looking for. Whether anybody read it that way remains to be seen.
No, exactly. It could be one of those problems where there was a bunch of guys throwing out different ideas and all of them agreed to disagree and say,
Yeah,
you know,
like, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah, we got these options and we'll just have to figure it out when we get there.
Yeah, we're just going to fight it out. And I actually looked at this boulder and thought the first move would be quite pedestrian. Becca Frangos is no slouch and is having real issues sticking the first move. Jay is, I mean, he's coming off with that excited frustration of, I got really close, maybe next try.
Yeah.
But he's running out of skin and he's running out of clock.
Yeah, let's be specific about the crimps that are drilled into that big motivation volume. Those are the Kilter Ian's Geo Jibs. So they're very angular and very shallow. They only work if you're using both of them together to attain the pinch. Otherwise, it's not a crimp that you can pull down on and swing around off. If you got to control with the thumb and the undercling. So if you're looking for him to just lock that thing down as a crimp and a kick in the wall, that's not going to go.
No, you're going to need some kind of superhuman contact strength.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we get a good look at Becca, and I'm just trying to figure out what she's not doing. And
I like the moon kick for a bit of momentum. That's pretty cool. And getting up there, but yeah, just not quite.
And I wonder if it's maybe a left hand, but I doubt it.
And the crowd getting behind them, but this is just some hard moves for these climbers.
Maybe this is a double. Maybe this is meant to, you need both hands. You need to go all in, not that sort of drive-by approach.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Rebecca giving everything she has and just not quite enough to stick that dyno.
Yeah, that's going to hurt, but solid attempts from her. Definitely can't complain. Unfortunately, she's going to be leaving the field with not the kind of score she was hoping for, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. So
yeah, we can't always have career days.
That's just competitive sports, everybody. Yeah. Well, I mean, you say that, folks like Sean, you know, have some good days.
He often does, and that part of being a full-time competitive climber and being able to train and compete at that level means that you're upping your odds of having a good day.
Yeah.
Because you know what it takes to overcome a bad day.
Yeah.
You know that you can come to the gym and maybe you don't have the right food, or maybe you didn't bring an extra water bottle, or maybe you didn't have the right shoes, and you say, that's okay.
Yeah.
I've done this so many times that I know what to do mentally and physically to overcome what other people might get derailed by. That's being a seasoned competitor. The opportunity to do that is very, very low in Canada. We talked about it a bit earlier. We talked about it yesterday. To be a full-time amateur professional athlete, we don't have that kind of opportunity. These people are working jobs. Sean is essentially the only true professional climber in our scene that doesn't need to make a living on top of training. That guy is thinking about climbing 7 days a week, and he's training 6 of those.
Yeah, we'll see if these guys can perform with any of that mature attitude. Alex Fritz has been in the game for a while. Madison a little less so, but finally they get a chance to prove it. It's been a tough round for both of them. Alex Fritz is still in the fight. Madison Fisher, unfortunately, is, I think, one of the girls sitting with only one top, so she's really got to make something happen if she wants a chance of a podium. And we'll see how it goes. Now, if we're talking about just big squeezy moves and a little bit of dynamic movement, I say, yeah, Madison's got some good chances.
It's in her wheelhouse?
One. Totally, yeah. I do not think she has ever climbed on these holds before, so that's probably going to be something new. But otherwise, the framework of it and the style, I think she says, yeah, this is what I want.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
There you have it. She just walked up and said, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, she's going to be feeling confident moving out to the rest of it at the very least. So a nice start from her. What a confident launch.
And that the left hand just let her down.
Yeah.
If she'd hung on to that for that fraction of a second longer, that's what you need to bring that swing back in.
Yeah, either holding
again.
onto it or getting the left hand up as well, which she tried that attempt right there, but I think she just bashed her hand into the side of the volume. Hopefully her tape is
she's got tape on 4 fingers, I think, down there.
Damn, man. It's a lot of finger fatalities.
That is, that's what you get out of new holds. There's the beauty of the improved friction, and then there's the downside of the improved friction. If you're not sticking the friction, it's having its way with your skin. Well, Alex Fritz also electing to try and go double to this first volume and hold the swing and then control that drop down, but not having a lot of success controlling the double. So that hold must be as bad as you said. These guys with their finger strength being unable to control what's not really that big of a swing is, I mean, it's bad.
Yeah, and again, one of those climbs where because all the holds are relatively uncertain, it starts to make you second guess your beta, and you say, okay, there's no definitive way to make this work. I haven't found it. Now I'm going to start trying different things, and that's the danger point where you lose the confidence in your beta and you're not sure what's going on.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of time to try stuff out.
And you're going to go, how strong are my thumbs at this point? And Madison, having almost stuck that move right off the hop, is now having diminishing returns.
Yeah, she's going to be mad if she doesn't come away with at least a bonus on this climb. So I can imagine her frustrations building up right now as she's looking back at the clock.
She's looking at her skin and looking at her tape. Alex is looking at the floor and looking at the wall. I mean, this is a hard shake. It's no different than having everybody flash everything than having a lot of people not do boulders. It's the same issue. You're all in the same boat. If you all have 3 tops in 4 tries and you come up to the last boulder versus a bunch of you having 2 out of 4, it doesn't change how you need to approach that last boulder, but it's a different feeling. Topping all the boulders and knowing you're tied with a bunch of people who are flashing is equally stressful. It's just not as demoralizing.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, they might not realize that, but for sure they won't be feeling as good. But everybody's in the same wheelhouse. You're all in the same ballpark, so don't get too worried about it because everybody's struggling just as much as you are.
And this is it's interesting. I know you were talking to Steve a little bit earlier. There's some blood on that hold, and the official rule is that you need to stop your bleeding in the time allotted to you.
Yes.
If the route setters can't get the problem cleaned in before you get your bleeding stopped, then you can call a technical for the time lapse between you being ready to climb and the holds being ready to climb on. But stopping the blood is up to you in the time that you have. And she does it.
There it goes. It took a little bit of sweat and tears and now blood, but she does finally get the bonus.
She grabbed the bonus and looked at the clock to see if she did in fact get it. And look at that, it's right at the wire. So a really, really wonderful dig deep effort from Madison Fisher at the end of her round to say, I'm going to get this bonus if it's the last thing I do.
Yeah. It's. I'm glad she scored the bonus, but getting to that point, you really start to say, man, she could have taken this further. So it is too bad that it doesn't work out.
Alex Fritz will walk away with essentially exactly the same result as everybody else, which is I hung onto that crimp for about a half a second and then fell off.
So yeah, man, I mean, like that's giving me a little bit more hope now, seeing that kind of stuff coming from the women's climb. But man, this men's climb looking hard. And again, our first place climbers right now are in first place with 1 top.
With 1 top.
Like this is this is getting serious, guys.
It is.
Route setters pushing the boundaries on this one. But we talked about how this is how we qualify for the national team. This is often the last comp Canadians get before going to World Cups. Let's up this a little bit. Let's raise the bar. That's what you need. You got to know what you're getting into. No more vacations, man. It's time to time to get tough now.
Yeah,
as the Agri-lites say.
That is exactly. It's time to get tough now, and it's time to realize that climbing is hard.
Yeah.
Falling off is part of the game. On any given World Cup day, you go and look, if you're a regular viewer of World Cup bouldering competitions, you see that the same person might win a comp one week and come in 25th the next.
Yeah.
So the field is so deep that you have one small bad day and you go from 1st to 5th. And what you're seeing is something like Jay Hollowatch going from perennially on the podium to probably not going to be on the podium for having a day that's only this much worse than everybody else.
Yeah.
So when the field is deep, you need to work really hard, and the World Cup field is deeper than any single national championship out there.
Yeah, well, let's see if Seb Lazur and Brahman Karnas have learned that lesson in their final climbs of the day over on the wall.
Getting some brushing done, some housekeeping. I'm surprised we didn't have brushers. I'm just going to say it. I have yet to see a national championship in which there were not a sea of people brushing the holds. Not that they need to have the holds brushed for them, but it's definitely a luxury to be able to stand and think about it while someone scrubs holds for you. So I'm admitting a little bit of surprise that we didn't get that locked down for these guys.
It's a tough burn for Brahma, but at least she knows she can get to the area.
And I do like that she seems to have a really, I don't know her that well, she seems to have a really positive attitude coming through this round. She's had a smile on her face, win or lose at this point. She just looks like she's enjoying the competition, which is wonderful to see at that age.
Yeah, I think for her, again, talking how we spoke to her earlier, she didn't set any huge competitive goals for this season. Last year, she got to compete in some of her first World Cups, and this year she was like, I'm going to get down, I'm going to repair the things that I know are wrong with my climbing. So if you spend the year on the nitpicky things and don't worry too much about how well you perform, and then you come out and you kick some ass when you got to show up, I think she's feeling pretty happy about how her season has gone.
Yeah, I would say so. Seb Lazur moving well, but not noticeably better than anybody else in the ability to slow down on that boulder.
Yeah, this climb here is giving me flashbacks of some classic Dustin Curtis nonsense where you see a wall full of stuff and you're like, I don't know how to do this, but there must be a million options. And I'm still waiting for somebody to have that kind of Eric Sethna moment where they just turn around backwards, and there it is.
And there it is.
Sticking the move with the kick, and now he's going to move through this part of the climb static rather than going dynamic. This next ledge is a morpho, a nice flat 90
Oh my
degree edge.
goodness, Seb Lazur establishing his drive to the podium right here.
Yeah,
don't look away.
Effectively a jug in the right hand. This Bubby saw, and this finish is gold.
Wow, Seb Lazur. Bien joué, Sébastien. Zero complaints.
Yeah, that makes a world of difference. Firing above the other guys with one top, giving him two. It puts him above Alex Fritz. So I believe at this point Seb has locked in either a gold or a silver. It all comes down to what Sean's going to do in his final attempt. But man, that's refreshing to see such a difficult climb finally get sent. And of course, it's somebody like Seb after such a strong year. Attaboy, Sebi.
Yeah, he is your provincial champion this year, right?
Yeah,
he was first this year at FQME Provincials.
I'm not from Quebec. It's not my provincials. I got no idea.
You're on the East. I'm calling it the East.
Yeah,
I'm calling it
so.
the East.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And don't forget that Seb Lazur also is a World Cup competitor. So he's top 20'd at World Cup. So he's been in the big game before and getting better and better and better the more time he spends competing.
Yeah, and it sounds like Bronwyn might have just stuck that move. Going back to the live camera, she sure has, and she's earned the bonus. Now we'll see if she can make progress where Madison couldn't and get a heel up in this very precarious. Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
Whew, I thought we had rules to outlaw the downward dyno, but she's bringing it back.
She's bringing it back.
I like this reset. It allows some progress. Now it gets down into the nitty-gritty where her weight is going to be so far from under her hands if she keeps the foot.
Look at the finger strength that she's displaying here is wonderful.
And now this finish hold is effectively a jug. It's a big round slope with
a long way to go. Oh.
Damn, that's rough.
That is rough. She's looking at the clock and not going to have enough time to run back up there.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
But the crowd got loud, thanking her for that show and for that excellent burn. And I mean, coming back down for like a two-handed catch like that, that's
amazing.
My God, talk about not wanting to let go. This girl.
That is dig deep in a nutshell, and you see right there the thumb catch that you were talking about.
Yep, there it is, and it looked like she almost aimed for it on that one as well. And here, just maybe a bit of the toe or heel, but yeah, just too big a move. And what is it that happens? Is it the foot that goes?
The foot that goes on the way.
Let's see. She's trying to heel right. Oh, she tries to switch to a toe, and the toe pops. That is a bummer.
I think she felt that there was no way she was going to go lock off.
Yeah.
And in the heel of that place, you would need to hold a lock off, and a toe would let you go dynamically.
I definitely agree with trying to switch to the toe, and it sucks when you make a good decision. You get punished for it. That's a bummer, but I mean, fundamentally it was there. So so not too bad from her. And again, with the girls, it's going to come down to some bonuses, man. So unless we see people like Allison Vest or Alana Yip top that thing, that bonus can mean a lot. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of attempts. Who are we on to now?
We're speaking up. We got Alana Yip coming out, and we got Francis Bilodeau.
Let's see this happen. Alana Yip is looking revved and ready to go.
Francis looks basically the same as he looks on every other boulder.
Yeah, man, that guy doesn't show, and not that I know him very well, but I don't see a lot of emotion from him, which is something I can relate to. I'm not a super outgoing dude when it comes to climbing, but it does make it a bit hard to read, especially after a tough round. You're not really sure where he stands. Well, Alana makes the dyno look easy. And we'll see if she can rearrange this to make it comfortable. It looks like she won't have to. She's just going to roll with it.
Yep.
I don't see thumbs, though, but she's going to make it work either way.
Her hand strength is
and this
next level.
This is looking solid. If she can flash this, it puts it in a great position to take a win. Although Allison Vest does still have a chance to match her and beat her.
Oh, low foot, and just gets up high enough to stick that move. What a great flash from Eleni Yip.
That's an awesome job from Canada's first ever finalist in a World Cup in any discipline this year, finally making finals at the Bouldering World Cups, which no Canadian woman has ever done before. That's the kind of performance we expect to see from somebody breaking the records like that, and that will put her into first place for now.
For now.
But of course, coming up will be Allison Vest, who still has the chance to lock this thing down.
And Alyssa Weber not going to take a podium spot with a top here, but can get herself up the standings just that little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited to see Allison Vest come out in a couple climbers, but for now, we're going to be focusing on Francis. After seeing a top from his French compatriot or his Quebecois neighbor.
his ami.
Yeah, sure. And we'll see if he gets back on this thing, and maybe he can emulate some of what Seb showed us earlier on.
He's falling in the same spot as equally talented people.
Yeah, that's just a tough go.
It's a heartbreak. For sure, this one's a heartbreak. And he's not really looking to stab that right foot out. He's looking to control the swing with a double-handed clutch here.
Yeah, definitely not taking the full body into consideration on that, assuming he can just stick that. So curious if he has the grip strength to hold on to that, because if he does, then that's pretty dope.
We haven't seen anyone yet. There's just a lot of swinging around on a not very good hold.
Let's see this thing, man. It almost looks good. Like, I know it's probably not the way to do it, but if he could stick it.
It looks good until you get just past that vertical swing, and then you are in the air. That's the 1 minute buzzer. I mean, Francis he's eclipsed his finish from last year. He was 15th last year at Open Boulder Nationals. So he's come way past that from last year to this year. So he's going to be happy with the result, I think, regardless. Even though, we do say it's not just about making finals. It's about progress from season to season. And I would say going from 15th to 5th or 6th is absolutely progress.
Yeah, and I don't know him too well, so I don't know if this is super accurate, but I've seen Francis climbing in speed and difficulty for the last couple of years, so he is definitely one of Canada's driven combined climbers. And so even performances like this where he sees such an improvement in his bouldering, he might not be first place, but by having that large swath of talent across all three disciplines, that might be his goal for now.
It might absolutely be, and that's something that, as we were mentioning earlier, with the Olympic format and the way the combined is going to shake out, if you want to be an Olympian, you need to be a combined.
Ooh, bit of a dry fire there.
You need to be a combined athlete. You need to be able to climb routes, and you need to climb boulders, and you need to be able to speed climb. As much as speed climbing is a World Cup discipline, it is not a World Cup discipline practiced by very many athletes.
No.
It is hyper-specialized.
Yeah.
A lot of the bouldering and lead athletes compete in both.
Yep.
The speed athletes don't cross over.
No, and again, it's also a very regional sport. So you see a lot of speed climbing in different parts of Europe and Asia, but North America, it's not something we've done a lot of. So being a North American speed climber has been a rarity in the last little bit. And that's why somebody like Sean has been such an unusual climber around here, because he exceeds in all of those disciplines and bothers to actually train speed.
Yeah, and he is an Olympic hopeful. He's actively talked about it, and he's actively decided to keep working on his speed game. There are speed walls in Canada. We have 2 now, a 3rd one going up in Calgary shortly. So there are opportunities to go and do those speed climbs, and obviously in Europe. So it'll be interesting to see him progress at speed events over this World Cup season that's upcoming, and see what he's able to do with actual training instead of just being pretty good at climbing speed.
Yeah. So we got Nathan Smith and Alyssa Weber here on the wall. Nathan Smith is fighting for his life currently with no tops, and I'm sure that's not what he wanted. Alyssa Weber does have 1 top. And there is a chance that she could progress higher than that, depending on how this problem goes. One top, depending on, you know, how many attempts it goes, could really make a huge difference. But we're going to have to see. Again, this is an unbelievably hard problem, and she'll be of a small number of climbers that get it done if she does. Landing the dyno is a great first step, and the bonus is going to help.
Not quite. She does, I will admit, she does not have the greatest hip opening flexibility out of the women's field.
Yeah, and you know
what? Saw it right there.
Yeah, going back to Bronwyn's beta, where she brought both hands to the hold before bonus, got the heel hook, and then reached across with her left hand, made her
meanwhile,
solid.
If we could see both of these climbs at the same time, yes, Alyssa Weber staring down the finish, and Nathan Smith making progress. This is exciting stuff.
Bring it home, Nathan. Come on, bud.
Oh, Alyssa Weber just missing the finish. Nathan Smith, what have you got?
You're thrown to a jug. Don't let me down, bud.
There we go.
Good stuff from Nathan Smith. Not the comp he wanted, but a finish that he'll take for sure. And Alyssa Weber staring down this climb, her last chance to make a dent in this comp.
He'll be really happy with that. As you were saying, not the result he wanted, but he'll be psyched to know that he topped this boulder that has thrown off 4 before him.
Yeah, and shout out to everybody from Block Shop and, of course, from Boulders in Toronto. I'm sure you guys are psyched to see that, that performance from him. Hope you guys are making some noise back at home or at the gym. Your boy did good.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. And we're going to see how close Alyssa came here, electing to go, I think, foot low.
Yeah, it looks like keeping the low foot, which might just put that thing a bit out of reach.
Oh, and then she wound up, and that double clutch is what killed her.
Yep.
Sometimes just reeling it in and going first try is the best choice, but, I mean, everybody does it. Everybody double clutches. Everybody sort of rethinks their dynamic movement at some point.
Yeah, exactly. So here we go. She's already done the stuff already. She knows what it feels like, so let's try and optimize it and make it as efficient as possible so we can get a great finish attempt.
Grimacing her way up this boulder. As always, interesting to see if she switches the beta and she doesn't.
Yeah,
she elects to stay low foot.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this this go. I want to see at least the hands, you know, getting matched up and bringing the foot up. It's too far. You can't get much propulsion off of your hands, so it all comes down to your feet. And when the foot is so low and far away, and when the foot's frankly not that good, how can you create that propulsion to get yourself to the finish? No. I don't know if you can.
I don't know if you can, and she was hoping to go locked off, but wow, that's a really far distance to spend. And you look here, she just thinks, I'm going to go and stick maybe the bottom. No, I thought she was trying to grab the bottom of the volume to establish and then go again. She just went slow and steady. She's going to run out of clock and run out of skin. I mean, you watch these climbers. If you want to see the worst handwriting in the world, go and look at athlete signatures on final scorecards. Somebody hands you, and it looks like every time it's like,
yeah, shaky hands. Yeah, man.
You couldn't tell one from another.
Yeah, not speaking of anything, I just got a message from Canadian Climbing News, who we have to thank later on.
Huge thanks.
But I just got a message from them saying that with that top that Nathan secured, that means we are going to have 3 men in the podium. So unfortunately, my bet of Alex Fritz not getting the first place, but nice
already collapsed your dream.
Nice to see a solid podium of Canadians. I can't argue
absolutely.
With that.
That's great. It's great to see that.
Yeah.
And we do have to thank Canadian Climbing News has put together a lot of social media presence, a lot of promotion for this event. They do a lot of homework and provided us with a lot of great statistics on these climbers.
Yeah.
We've been very grateful to have on hand. So they've made a big difference for us. And we are down to our last 2 climbers of the night.
This is it, and let's talk about what matters in this climb. First of all, for Allison Vest, she's currently sitting in 3rd place, but if she gets this top in her first or second attempt, she's going to win this comp. So long as she doesn't fluff it, this can be hers, and Allison Vest could be the Canadian National Bouldering Champion.
Sean McCall, Allison Vest. Sean McCall is going to flash this boulder. Oh, no! I did it!
Oh, my God.
Oh, it's my fault this time. It's my fault. Allison Vest, I'm not going to say where. We're just going to watch.
All eyes on Allison Vest with the chance to win it. So long as she's keeping it calm and making good decisions, you might be about to see a new Canadian bouldering champion. But the Alyssa Weber mistake of keeping the foot low. Now she only has one more attempt. Allison Vest's next attempt will decide if she finishes this comp in first or not.
Wow. So Sean actually doing the coordination
What
the way
a
it was intended.
boulder. Man, I wish I wasn't talking over that when it happened.
Right, and he didn't have to stick that pinch, and that's the way it was. And there he goes.
There it is.
So we'll look at that again. We'll wait until we know for sure that Allison's going to take long enough break for us to see it. So he does it the way it's intended, and it shows to be easier, even though he's that good.
Yeah, no, I mean, we didn't always see it on every problem tonight, but when we did see it, we realized, damn, Sean McCall is the king of Canadian bouldering.
And he makes no mistake on this attempt, and he gave himself zero rest.
Exactly.
He fell off, got on, and did it immediately. Let's see where we're going with Allison Vest. We definitely want to see this burn is going to make the difference.
It looks like she was probably asking the crowd for some support. I doubt she knows how important this attempt is to her. So if you're from BC, if you're from Canmore, wherever you're from, if you're an Allison Vest fan, you better have your fingers crossed and be making some noise at home. This could be it.
Right
Give me
here.
some good climbing, Allison.
Oh my
God.
goodness!
That is unbelievable.
That is fantastic. With the beta that we said was maybe the worst decision, Allison Vest bends those levers.
Oh my God.
And wins this comp.
That I didn't, of all the places to see an upset, I didn't think it was going to come down to this final problem.
And not with this beta.
No, we were just like, completely savaging this beta, and she just
everything cut loose.
Fingertips only, and still gets this thing done.
That is a face of pure joy.
Yeah.
If you are a fan of competition climbing, and I know we didn't see a lot of tops, and I know people think that, I need to see 5 tops or 4 tops is having a successful comp. If you're a fan of competition climbing, winning the comp as the last climber out on the attempt that matters, I'm going to say it doesn't get any better than that.
It can't possibly get better than that. I think there's only one thing that could make it a bit better, and unfortunately it's the fact that I think you won the bet on who is going to win this thing.
I think I double won our bet.
I think you won both the women's and the men's prediction. We're going to go back and watch that replay from Allison. Just when she was winding up for it, I didn't think it was going to stick, and it did.
Believe it.
But there it is. I think Rebecca probably told her at that moment that she locked the win with that top in her very last chance to make it happen.
And that is support from a couple of longtime friends and strong competitors. That girl is psyched.
That's a happy climber, man.
Allison Vest. I mean, I don't know what else we could tell you other than that is competition climbing in its essence right there, is dig really deep, try really, really hard, and when it matters, you flip that switch.
No kidding. And I think that's one of those opportunities, too, where she probably didn't know that she had the opportunity to win it in those attempts. Maybe she knew the door was open, but she wasn't sure how many she had left. I might be wrong. But, I don't know if she understood the gravity of that, and being able to keep your cool, even if you're not sure if you can win it, you're not sure if you've won it or lost it, if you're out, whatever, just leaving the door open to yourself to have a good day, and every once in a while, the stars align, and it's yours.
Yeah, and you just... And I think what you said is spot on. You might not know that you might be winning or first or second or third with this attempt, but your drive to send the boulder regardless is what makes that essential difference on that last try.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do love this. These guys are all good friends. They've all been competing together for a very, very, very long time. If you're a new competitor, if you're a climber watching at home that doesn't climb a lot, this should excite you. It should make you think that, hey, you don't have to go to all competitions, but this is what climbing can bring to you. It's the community that we have, the ability to climb outside of yourself. This is really, really exciting for us. This is why we promote competition climbing so much. This is why we put on live streams like this. This is why we do it. I mean, just look at your screen right now. I mean, that girl is a national champion, and those might be tears of joy, which I can't say enough how awesome it is that these competitors are that psyched about this competition.
Yeah, that's some beautiful stuff. I'm not sure if we have a functional scorecard available. If we do, we'll bring those up for you. But if not, let me just recap what we got from this comp. Just give me one quick second as I pull this up and look away from the camera. But yeah, Allison Vest topping this thing with 3 tops and 3 bonuses. Same score for Alana Yip, but Allison got it done in 1 fewer attempt than Alana. So that's it. Bronwyn Carnes with 2 tops and 3 zones, and then followed by Maddie Fisher, Alyssa Weber, and then Becca Frangos, all with 1 top and varying numbers of attempts. So tight field.
Yep.
We got more, it started off rough, no tops on women's number 1, but eventually the tops came, and we started to see some really solid scores. For the men, Sean McCall, what is this, the 11th time around?
I think we might be the 12th time.
Whatever it is, he's we're ticking off national championships. Sean McCall in first place, 2 tops and 4 zones, just like Seb Lazur, except Sean got it done much sooner than Seb. Followed by Nathan Smith in 3rd, and then the American Alex Fritz taking 4th, followed by Jason Hollowatch, David Trudeau, and Francis Bilodeau to wrap it up in 7th.
That's a few unexpected shakeups in the middle of that. That's some newer climbers making their way to the podium. Nathan Smith for sure. Seb Lazur always hanging around near the top. Jay Hollowatch, I know he'll be disappointed that he didn't do as he was hoping. That, do you want to be first? Do you want to be second? Do you want to be third? Of course you do. Yes, you're happy that you made finals. Jay Hollowatch expects to be on the podium, I think, and that one's going to be sour for a little while.
Yeah, no kidding. But I mean, we kind of talked earlier, this isn't going to change too much in terms of national rankings, right? So if Jay wants to compete on the World Cup circuit, this probably gives him the points and the national ranking to do so. So a bummer showing for sure. Won't be too psyched about it, but if he really wants to hit some comps up this summer, he can still go and represent us. Again, like, he's been a finalist at a World Cup.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure he wants to feel that again.
Yeah, I agree. That's the kind of thing that you get a taste for it, and you want to go back and get some more. If you're watching on the live stream, I know we just told you who won. Don't run away. Watching the athlete presentation for the medals and the championships is nice to see. Leave the live stream up. It's not going to be very long. We're going to go and try and find a couple of these finalists to come back and have a chit-chat. So if you want to hear what maybe Allison and Sean have to say about that round and about what it takes to win a national championship, then don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go and see if I can hunt down a couple of those guys and coerce them back over here without the promise of booze or money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll be right back.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm going to update you guys on the Canadian Boulder rankings. These are up to date as of right now. Your first place ranked Canadian, and I'm just going to go down from here. I'm not going to repeat all the places, but it is Seb Lazur on top, followed by Nathan Smith, Jason Hollowatch, Lucas Uchida, and Sean McCall. Those are your top 5 Canadians in rank. And then 6th to 10th, Francis Bilodeau, David Trudeau, Jacob Elliott, Guy McNamee, and Kiefer Vandenbosch. Now, of course, in Canada, anybody ranked in the top 20 is available to go to World Cup events. So you can always go to compseason.com to find out who those remaining 10 are who will receive an invite. But for the women, Allison Vest is your first place ranked Canadian, followed by Bronwyn Carnes, Madison Fisher, Alyssa Weber, and Becca Frangos. The 6th to 10th place are Eva Thompson, Alana Yip, Leah Wachowski, Babette Roy, and Sophie Butendyke. And what I'm so excited about with some of these is just how many young kids are in this top 10. Babette and Guy both born in 2000. Madison born in 2001. I think I saw Mitchell Haight in the top 20, opening him up to go to World Cups if he wants to. So a really shake-up year. We're just going to be replaying some of the highlight moments from this competition, and we'll be back in just a second with some interviews or the podium, whichever one comes first. A thank to everybody watching out there for hanging out with us, and we'll be back in just a moment to talk to you guys. Well, look who it is. It is Canadian National Bouldering Champion, Allison Vest.
Yay!
What you been doing for the last couple minutes? What's up in life?
I not gonna lie, I was crying a little bit. Yeah.
Made me happy to see that amount of joy.
Yeah, I've been working really hard and training hard this season, so it's good to see it paying off for sure. Like I posted earlier, but all the girls in the final tonight are super strong, and considering, I mean, tonight the first boulder was sort of a write-off, just because nobody did anything, so it put the pressure on the last three. And as you can tell by the results, it was attempts and very few of them that separated, especially first and second.
Yep.
So today I feel like it could have been anybody's game, and yeah, I mean, I'm obviously elated to be on the top of the podium. That's really great, but I feel more honored to be able to compete with women that push each other so hard and then get to go back in ISO and still be chatting about where you're going to school and all that kind of stuff and be friendly, and but then throw down when the time comes. So yeah. I mean, it's just, the Canadian climbing community is growing so fast, and it's so much harder to make finals even, or to make semifinals. So it's really, I feel blessed to be able to compete with such a strong community that pushes each other up.
Very well said. Now, talking about how it can be anyone's game, especially last season at the National Championships and at the Tour de Bloc Champions, you were so close, and in that same mentality last year, so often I thought maybe this is your turn, and it just never worked out last season. How was your training, and how was this year? After that season, was there more motivation to keep going? Have you been training harder than ever before? What's life been like? Because I know you're in school too.
Yeah, I'm absolutely. And I mean, partially for me, one of the big things was Alana last year making, obviously, first Canadian woman to make World Cup finals, was pretty motivating for me, just because, I mean, I look up to Alana a lot. I think she's an incredible athlete. She works so hard, and so for me to be trying to sort of nip at her heels for so long has been a really great experience for me, and has kept that motivation high in order for me to be able to train hard, and her making finals just sort of situates Canada on the map in the World Cup level. So it's motivating for me to see her be doing so well.
All right. Cool. I want to take a look at a replay of you climbing a little bit early because we got it queued up. Tell me what you were thinking in this climb, on this attempt. Were you aware of the magnitude of the importance of this attempt as it happened?
So it's actually funny. My coach, Christian Core, actually, he told me before he left ISO today. He said, "Don't think about the results. Just do you. Just focus on your own climbing." And I mean, I tried to do that, but also I was climbing at the same time as Sean McCall, and he really likes to dissect what's happening, and he was really vocal about it. He'd be telling me, he'd be like, I have to flash this, I have to do this, to keep up, I have to do this. So he knew exactly what was going on, which made me more aware of it. So I didn't know for sure, but on that last attempt there, it sort of went through my head for a split second, like, if you want any chance of taking this, you got to stick this move now. And I don't think I've ever been closer to falling on a move in my entire life, but I'm glad I hung in there. So
I would 100% agree. And I know Tyler was sitting here 1 second ago, and now I'm back. We had discussed that the low foot was maybe not the best beta, and I was worried to see you go up on that second try and keep your foot low. Mm-hmm. And then you saw on that slow motion replay, I don't know if you felt it when you were doing it, everything came off except your left hand. You were this close to...
I've never been closer. And for me, it's interesting because static lock-offs like that with a high foot, I'm assuming other people put a heel up where my hands are there in that shot?
Only 50%.
Okay. So that move is really hard for me, getting a high heel and doing a lock-off, but dynamic movement has always been one of my fortes. So I felt like this was my best shot to get the height I needed.
It was fantastic. I mean, that was a moment.
And you can actually see one of my fingers pop, too. I only had two on the top there. So
that was the epitome of dig deep right there. Really quick, what's next for Allison Vest? What does the summer look like? Is it a World Cup? Is there a World Cup in there? Is it school? Is it time off? What's next?
There'll be at least a couple. I'm hoping to do a couple of the Asian ones. I think there's 2 in China I'm hoping to hit up. And then potentially Vail as well.
Well, I'm excited to see that. I really hope that works out for you.
Thank you so much.
Keep doing what you're doing. It's obviously working.
Thank you.
And you were my pick to win. We talked at the beginning. We were back and forth, and we were kind of, you know what? The way you climbed, yesterday, the way you climbed today, I'm like, if you keep that train rolling, if you can compose 3 rounds of that type of focus, then you have every trick necessary to win a national championship. So
and I mean, for me, I went into finals, and like I said, all these girls are so strong, and for me, going into finals, I was worried that I would feel a lot of pressure because I was seated in first place coming into the round, but it was sort of the opposite. Like, for me, finals was sort of the gravy to end the weekend, and I was able to just have fun and enjoy what I was doing, and obviously it's a strategy that I should try to employ more often.
it worked for you to relax, and I know we left some people smiling on some of the boulders and not smiling on some of the boulders. Definitely on boulder number 3, the sort of wry smile of, I actually have to turn inside out to get to the top of this boulder.
Was wicked.
And you were, I think we might have a replay of you on number 3. We have a few replays. We laughed because Bronwyn did it and looked up with this sort of, oh my God, I did that. And then you basically had exactly the same facial expression of, oh my God, I just did that. I turned myself inside out, and it was like, is it a hip scum?
Yeah.
Is it an elbow scum?
I find with volumes in overhangs like that, it happens a lot where you're just sort of spinning endlessly and don't really know where you're going. You're just sort of trying to move towards the top. So yeah, it was really fun.
And hopefully not end up back where you started and say,
exactly.
This is exactly the nightmare of I climbed all the way around this volume and I'm no farther up it.
Yeah.
We're going to let you go.
Perfect.
So thanks for hanging out. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You are a national champion, and it's well deserved. Go get yourself a podium.
Thank you.
All right. All right, guys. We are not very far away in the day of modern technology where the scores are calculated right away. We know that the results are coming very, very quickly. We're going to probably got a few replays to show you. Keep your eye on the screen. When they're up, we're going to cut over to the awards. Don't go anywhere if you're still watching on the live stream. Catch some of these replays, and then we're just going to carry their feed through to show you the results, and then maybe you'll catch a few words from us to wrap up. But thanks for watching. Guys, we absolutely need your presence on the live streams. We need you to stay psyched. We need you to stay tuned. Come back and watch the results and the podium. Sean McCall, national champion again. Sean McCall, the finals round was tough for all the men. We did not see a lot of tops, but you secured that win down at the wire. Did you know what you needed to do on the last boulder?
So I did, and it's always hard coming out last because you can hear the crowd. You're kind of basically calculating it back in ISO. I knew Seb had done the second boulder he told me 3 tries. I knew I had flashed it, and then when he did the last boulder, just from the reaction of the crowd, I heard the minute beep at 20 seconds later, so I was like, I guessed around 3 tries. Mm-hmm. So he has 6. That means I have about 4 or 5 tries to do the last boulder, but I know I have to do it to win.
Right.
Or else I'm second or third. I think Nathaniel did it as well, but no, sorry, Nathan.
Yep.
But I wasn't sure. But I was like, going for the win. So I'm like, all right, I got 4 tries. I got to come out here. And then I was torn. Is it a single? Is it a foot stab? Or is it a triple?
Right.
And I thought I was going to go with a single at first. But then hearing the anticipation of the crowd and the cheering, I was like talking with Nathan. I was like, it's a triple. We're like, it's a triple. We're going to do a triple.
Right. Did you know that, and I don't know who you've talked to since, and you're the only person that tried the triple?
So yeah, that's I guess someone just told me that, because I guess Nathan did a single with kept his hand.
Yeah.
And Seb did a foot stab.
Yeah.
So that's
it was ridiculous. And Dustin told me that it was meant to be a triple.
Right.
And then those guys all tried to go, and some people tried to double, and it was just the amount of force it took to hang that crimp. And the triple is essentially just a drive-by. It's just to get you swinging back under, and you did it so cleanly that it was obvious. We'll have a look at it here. You did it so cleanly that this is,
I mean I knew I had to do it, and so it wasn't a question of whether I could. It was just, this is what needs to be done.
I mean, you're barely touching that first hold, and it's just keeping you in. And I mean, that's coordination at, I'm going to say at a World Cup level. Like, surely you've seen as coordination boulders go.
And then here you see me die inside a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Oh, this is the send. And it was interesting because even my first try, I thought I even did the triple better.
Yes, you did.
And then I fell on the last move, and yeah, I was dying inside. The crowd, the faces, it was just everyone was looking at me, and it was like,
everybody was shocked because we had seen it done, and you knew how big that hold was, and you're like, well, Sean McCall doesn't fall off a hold that's as big as his head. And then they were like,
and my foot was fully slipped. I didn't even really touch it, and I'm looking at all the sea of disappointment.
And then you bounce back from that, and that's what we talked about a few times on last stream, that you are such a seasoned competitor and you're used to that pressure. You can't get over the pressure, but in order to just come back from that shows real poise. And then that's something I've always liked about the way you climb, is that you're able to do something with that disappointment immediately and then get back up. And I think we said the time it took you to go from first attempt to second attempt was maybe 25, 30 seconds.
No, and I knew I was very conscious that I had a very not a lot of rest, and it was just because I knew I could do the move. I wanted to keep the momentum that I had, and also from Allison finishing her boulder. I think it was. Anyways, I wanted to keep the momentum I had and just go. And I also knew I had 4 tries. So if I did, I would have taken like a minute rest just after that.
Right, and done that. So it was a hard round for sure. How do you come back off the first boulder and you know that no one else has topped it, but you think, oh my God, I should have topped. Like, that would have put me so far ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, because no one else topped it, you're just like, well, we're all still tied, and then technically I'm ahead because of countback. And you just go to the next boulder and you just say, it's done. I'll think about it later.
Right.
I thought I could have done it, but then again, I spent 3.5 minutes being stuck on the first move-ish.
Right.
So, just one boulder at a time, and kind of just forget about it.
Right. And just move around. You know that you're all in the same boat, and everybody's faced with the same boulders, and everybody's faced with that same adversity of, how do we get through a round and not top a lot of boulders? Like, everyone's just getting the crowd was still into it, which is fantastic. I know I got Sebastian looking at me like, we need you for the podium. Congratulations on being a national champion again. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'm assuming you're going back on the World Cup circuit, and you're doing all 3 events this year?
Yeah, I haven't scheduled exactly, but I'll do all 3 events. I'll do a lot of them in each and kind of play it by ear.
Fantastic. We're going to keep on eyeing you. Guys, Sean McCall, a 12-time national champion?
It is, 12. And then what's cool is this is the 10th bouldering win.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah, 10th. So it's really important for me.
So congratulations to you. Go get your hard-earned medal.
Thank
and you guys, we're going to go flip over. We're going to watch these guys on the podium.
get started. But first, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming. Spectators, competitors. Big round of applause for the competitors. They did a great show. I also want to take the time to properly thank the volunteers, everyone that came to help. These events could not run without the work of all these volunteers, whether they were judging, brushing holds, holding cameras, plugging things in. There's a lot of work involved. And so big thanks, and particularly to Lorraine Winger. Yeah! Thank you very much, Lorraine. I also wanted to thank the route setters that I think put on a really good show. So big round of applause for Phil, Thomas, Dustin Curtis, Oscar, Sean, I'm forgetting one. Oh, Adam. Sorry, Adam. And then I also wanted to thank, this event is a CC event, and there's a lot of good things happening right now at the CC. I wanted to personally thank people from the CC that came down, Steve Frangos, Seth Powell, who was the technical delegate, who was over here, thank you very much. Malik Taleb, everyone knows Malik, big round for Malik, really chill. And Jeff Thompson, who we haven't met, but I've heard good things. Nice to meet you. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic to Seth. He's going to get this going, but again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jean-Marc. So first and foremost, these events don't happen without facilities like this. They close their doors, they strip their walls, they buy new holes, they put a lot into this. So I want a huge round of applause for Jean-Marc, Luigi, and Up The Bloc. Thank you very much. Another big applause to everybody out here, right? These athletes put everything in, you're here supporting them, so let's give a big round of applause for yourselves. And finally, one more for all those athletes who just put everything out there this weekend. Huge, huge round of applause for all the athletes. Let's hear it for them! Perfect. So now we are going to present your podiums. So to do that, we have some great people here who are going to be presenting both the awards and the medals. We have Luigi here from Up The Bloc. We have Jeff, who's the new high performance director. We have Steve, the new CEC president. And then Christian Kaur, as you guys all know, is a world champion. Perfect. So now I'm going to pass a lot to Alex here. He's going to present the podium.
Alrighty guys, starting with the 2018 Open Bouldering National Open Women Podium. In third place, we have, from Ontario, Bouldering Curtis. In second place, from British Columbia, Alana Yip. And your female 2018 Canadian Open Bouldering National Champion, Allison Bass! Congratulations to the podium, all athletes, especially these three ladies right here. And now for the men, 2018 Canadian Open Bouldering National Podium. In third place, from Quebec, we have Nathan Smith. In second place, also from Quebec, we have Sebastian Lazure. And your male 2018 Open Bouldering National Champion from BC, Sean McCall. Put your hands together. Your male podium, everybody. Congratulations, guys. You deserve it.
All right, thank you again, everyone, for coming out. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, the CC here, we're putting on a little section here with Jeff Thompson. If you want to learn about what's going on with the High Performance Committee and what's doing the CC, please come around 9:30 tomorrow morning here. Hope to see you guys here. Good night, safe drive.
And just like that, one dynasty continues and a new champion is crowned. Sean McCall and Allison Vest, Canadian Open Bouldering champions for 2018. What a comp.
What a comp. All three rounds, great climbing all the way through. You know, these guys have got to keep it together for 2 days. Really held together in finals. You know, you heard us talk to Sean, you heard us talk to Allison. The pressure of being able to perform when required, to know what's needed, and to dial it in and do it. Allison Vest very nearly coming off the attempt she needed. Sean coming off the flash attempt. Both of them just erasing that and coming back and doing it. That's a storybook finish. I don't know that you can ask for a better finish to a comp than your winners topping their last boulders to get on the top of the podium.
Yeah, really unbelievable. And let's not forget all the people that helped make this event happen.
Absolutely.
So first of all, Up The Bloc, of course, for hosting. Come check out this incredible gym here in Mississauga, Ontario. But also to the CEC and the OCF for acting as the host bodies for this event. Also a thanks to all of the volunteers who came out to judge, even just to supervise the bathrooms to make sure the competitors weren't sharing beta. All these little jobs mean a lot. Thanks to eThere Live for producing this live stream. Thanks to Canadian Climbing News, our friend, for giving us all this information and making it accessible to us.
Thanks to the route setter. We're talking to the route setter, the architects of the architects of the show that went on today. Caleb the Chief, Dustin Curtis,
Adam Chatterin,
Sean Hunter,
Oscar Lanzagorda, and I think I saw Hamish Thompson doing
some forerunning.
Not sure if he was setting or just forerunning.
Forerunning is a strong word, but he was climbing some of the finals boulders at the very end. So the route setters, obviously a critical piece of the puzzle. They put a lot of pressure on themselves. They actually end up getting a lot of flack if people feel it doesn't go well. They shoulder it. They move on, they set the next round, and they put on a show for us.
Yeah, no, I think all in all, pretty incredible comp. I don't really know what else to say except
thanks to these guys.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys being a part of the audience and bothering to watch this stuff, and for telling your friends about it, and for just staying engaged and being involved in the community as a spectator. It means a lot. For every set of eyeballs, that's a few more cents we can squeeze out of the sponsors, you know?
You're right,
so,
that stuff's important.
Thanks.
So share it around, go back and watch it, tell someone else about it. Gathering views, I think the semifinals got up to 2,000 views just in this afternoon alone. So get psyched, get involved, go to the next comp at your gym, watch the World Cups, check out the rankings, just get psyched about your sport, about your friends, about your competitors. I got nobody else to thank. I think we're we're good.
Well, thank you, Pete.
Thank
you,
you,
It's been
Ty.
great to finally work with you, man.
Yes, it was fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, that was us trying to work together for the first time on the fly, and I'm really psyched with how it went.
I had a great time.
I had fun working with you.
I had a blast, man. So, yeah, from me, Tyler Norton.
From me, Pete Woods.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next year in 2019
Absolutely.
at the next Canadian Open Bouldering Nationals.
All right, have a good night.